Lemon water's delicious. Hey, we're going to start in just a few seconds, but I want to recognize and say hello. You guys can post your selfies up. I want to say hello, Giovanni. Welcome. David Delgado. Welcome. Look at the Puerto Ricans in their selfie game. Look at that. Luke, welcome. Clearwater Hub, welcome. There you go. Tallahassee, Erica Bellinson, welcome. San Juan crew, welcome. Tallahassee crew, welcome. Want to get everyone in the right frame. Do me a favor. Let's take 30 seconds here. If you could just write down your responses so they're more efficient. We'll start off with what is hot in your life as a TLA Next Level member, and what are you grateful for? So we'll start in 30 seconds. We'll go around the horn just to kick things off. Welcome.
My eyes are fucking crying. I was so sad, Jeff. You know how long it took to get ready?
I know. I've been there.
You got your nails and hair done.
Got my nails and hair done. Heidi pushed me in the pool. There was one time where we were going, I think it was church, and I couldn't get the pocket. I was just frustrated with my pocket square, like my pocket square. And it was 30, 45 minutes later, and Heidi didn't say anything. I said, maybe we just go to the next service. She said, that's okay. And later on, we talked about it. She said, you look so frustrated. And I said, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, it was like 30 minutes later.
You kind of just have to sometimes.
It looked great. It looked great. It looked great. And we just ended up going. We had a great day, but we didn't have a great morning. All right. Keep going. You can make sure you have all the agendas and all the handouts ready, please. All right, let's go around the horn, and we're going to go full screen on the TV here for the crew. And let's start with virtual now. We'll go with Erica, David, and Giovanni to kick us off. What's hot? What do you appreciate? Quickly. Erica, you're up.
What's hot is I start my first class of the semester on Wednesday. I appreciate opportunity.
Opportunity, me too. We'll go David, and let's go to Giovanni.
What's hot is you just launched a new training class. Got to send out over 1,000 classroom emails yesterday. So looking to create a big recruiting class for our next seminar.
That's excellent. 1,000 classroom emails makes my heart sing. And second place to that, David Delgado, you make my heart sing. Doesn't he make your heart sing, everyone?
Yes.
There it is. There it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
The best. Giovanni, you're up. We'll go to Giovanni, then we'll go to Clearwater.
What's hot is the Miami Dolphins play tomorrow. What I appreciate is the time that I spent with Jeff yesterday.
Aww.
Yeah, we went to the Edison. You guys know that?
How was it? Yes?
Lunch, but we waited around for the dinner menu, so it was better. Drinks are great.
I've only been to brunch.
And then El Cocinero's the best. It's like a Mexican
I've been
restaurant.
there.
And then I got a chance to go to level 8 with Jackson and his girlfriend. It was really cool.
Aww.
I felt like the FSU dad that came in town and took the kid and their friends to the adult place where they wouldn't spend their money, because I was one of 4 people doing that last night. It was really, I felt old as hell. I said, you guys want, I'll get you a drink. And I was watching another mom going, I'll get you a drink. I'm like, Jesus, it's me. It's me. So anyway, Giovanni, you're up.
Again?
I'm sorry, not Giovanni. Clearwater, you're up. Sorry, wrong order here.
It's just savage.
So we'll go Clearwater.
I just had exams finished up. Did pretty well.
Okay. A little louder, but I heard you, but a little louder. Amanda, you're up. Yell.
What's hot is this next level group session, and what I appreciate is all of my opportunities to use it.
There you go. Outstanding. We'll go to Tristan, and then Daniel, then Skylar.
Track for me is especially starting this one week, and what I appreciate is virtual hubs.
Me too. We'll go Daniel, Skylar. Daniel, then Skylar.
All right, what's hot is I got to see my brother's team last night, his high school football team, win like 59-0.
59-0. That's it. They couldn't break 60.
So that was in the first half, and then they just running clock the rest of it. Put all the backups in.
What, they play middle school? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, good.
I was in high school.
Good.
And then what I appreciate is just my circle of influence.
Okay. Miss Skylar, welcome.
Alright, so what's hot is this next level fruit call. And what it's coffee.
Coffee. Like as in caffeine, as in Dunkin' Donuts, iced coffee. I like it. I like it.
Is it caramelized coffee?
Dude.
Jackson.
It is.
Just kidding. Okay. We'll go to San Juan. We'll go to Puerto Rico. We'll go to David. Since you're leading the hub, you're up.
Training, and I appreciate my staff for enjoying the title.
Yeah, you guys will appreciate this if you run an office. If you're an assistant, you'll appreciate it, but just not to the same degree. So 2 weeks ago, San Juan shipped maybe $2,000. This past week, they shipped up 15,000, 16,000 in new business, and he just had 12 in training, launched 12 for almost 2,000 PR names and 182 per head. So, I mean, and you talk about, yeah, David.
I know in Gainesville we have a hashtag Beat San Juan going on right now.
You have a hashtag called what?
Beat San Juan.
Beat San Juan. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that one. But it's a worthy cause to try.
Thank you.
You're not gonna win, but anyway, David, awesome job. Congratulations, and San Juan, make sure you guys are taking note. We'll go to Chewy, Patricia, and then Christina.
All right, so what's hot? I hit the gym this morning before coming here.
Yeah, you're looking a little swole, man. You know what that means? You know what that means? Swole, like Swoltergeist?
Oh
Like the
my
swollen
God.
one?
Oh
Okay.
my God.
So quick.
Keep going. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate my super influence and just being here.
All right. I like it. Hey, do you think the Ravens have a chance of going to the Super Bowl? The swole? No. So you know what that means when I say swole? As in like swollen.
Oh, yeah.
Your muscles, muy grande, yeah. I like it. Patricia, you're up.
What's hot is already at 1,000 fruit and our office filling it, and we're
Okay. Christina, you're up. You should be happy. You should smile more. Go ahead.
What's hot is food next week.
Yeah.
What I
All right, welcome. I love it. We got all the virtual. Let's go over here to. There we go. Tell me how. I think I broke it. It did. Yes. You're up, Mila.
What's hot is I have a PR in Gainesville and Cancun is next weekend. And then what I appreciate is my parents.
Good. Mr. Sullivan.
What's hot is girlfriend's family coming to Tally, and I appreciate Jeff coming to Tally.
I'm in Tally. I'm hitting all the spots tonight. I got a table at recess.
Are you
serious?
We're gonna pregame it. Look, I'm gonna pregame it. I painted in pots, and then I'm gonna have a beer at Township and an appetizer, Mad Social.
After party.
Can you leave a table at Social?
And then I'm gonna hang out at the pool at Leon High School.
Dude.
I'm gonna do all. Okay. Let's go. Laura Mira, welcome from Miami.
What's hot is that I'm running advanced training on Monday, and what I appreciate is Rob and Naomi letting me stay with them.
Nice. For free or are they charging you?
For free.
Nice.
Yeah, wait.
Speaking of Rob.
What's hot? I'm running a couple of functions in the office with Jackson being gone this weekend and throughout the week, and I appreciate everybody coming up to the hub.
Go Kier.
What's hot is the 2 A's I got on my exams that I took yesterday.
Well done.
Nice.
And what I appreciate is the support from the people I love.
That was cute.
Jackson.
What's hot is got SLC Hollywood LA next week.
Yeah.
And the Ryder Cup's on. And what I appreciate is dinner last night with Jeff.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
Gift.
All right, so what's hot is as I thought it was hot as an NLG member. I mean, I thought listening to the Jim Rohn audio was really cool, like just hearing it for the third or fourth time now, but
Yeah.
just I love that audio. And I'm grateful for having another professional outfit handy because I had a little bit of a rough morning. So Thank God I had this.
The worst part about that is the lack of coffee, honestly.
Oh my
Screw
God.
it.
Totes my goats. Totes my goats. Totes my goats. And you know what? It's a really, and Luke will appreciate this because I know he's a heavy reader. You can read the same book 6 times and read 6 books.
Yeah.
You know, I just reread half of Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, and you would think that, you know, I was quoting that book for 2 years straight. I read a new book already just because you read it in a different place. You have different goggles and you have different ears on and so forth. So thank you. Mason, pledge.
What's hot? We got Cancun next week, and then what do I appreciate is my circle of influence.
Wonderful. Welcome. Good to see you, sir. Eric.
What's hot? Just being back in school mode, and then I appreciate my family and everyone in this room.
Wonderful. For everyone, can you plug me in? If everyone could turn your attention to both the agenda and the screen. I just want to get things rolling here. Welcome to Next Level Part 2. So this is really interesting and really cool. I'm prepping for SLC, and I have an opportunity to speak twice to the company, once for just the DVMs and then once for general session. And what's so fun for me is that the DVM, the general session, it's just typical gimbal. I'm talking about vector train. I'm talking about circle of influence. I'm going to TLA United the hell out of the company again. That's essentially. You would go to that. I think our DM team is going to get a lot out of it. But one of the things they'll go when they leave, I would hope, is that's what we do, and that's our culture. But when I speak to the DVMs, I'm going to speak for the 3rd or 4th year in a row on a topic specific to divisional culture. And every other year, I'm either talking about divisional culture or divisional development. Okay, and I say that because and I don't know how you write this in your notes or how you just process this, but either you're too close to the forest to see the trees, or you don't. Sometimes you just don't appreciate when you're in it until you're out. I mean, however you want to say it, is that don't take for granted how powerful our development and our layering and our cultural tools here in Florida United are. I genuinely believe that you can take some of the things you've learned here naturally that you may not know how to do yet, like how to do, but you know what it is. And I think you can apply it to any business, your branches, your districts, future endeavors, running your own boutiques, running your own businesses, scaling X, Y, and Z, because culture eats strategy for lunch. And one of the things I talk about incessantly is Next Level Group. You know, it's one of those things where the amount of people in our Next Level, you know, you take a look at the board here. We have just shy of 30, give or take, right? Between 20 and 30. If you're a small, just starting up division, you would want 20 to 30 in your TLA, like a Brian Hurlman 2 years ago. You would want this amount of people. But the caliber of this Next Level, it's like a deployed division. I want you to process that for a second. So the caliber, and in a really awesome way, the experience, skill set of our Next Level and the amount rivals what people would deploy as a DVM, meaning the people that would get the chance to run an office, DVM, a pilot, district, and branch. We're getting all that level of experience, but this is still the group that has to earn it. This is still the group that's not in there yet. And so that really does, you know, for me, it really does speak to, hey, put yourself in the room where you're challenged and you're pushed, right? And if you don't feel like you're challenged and pushed here, I would ask you not to ask and challenge the atmosphere. I would ask you to challenge the mirror. You guys see what I'm saying? Like if you feel like, oh, I'm not that challenged here, you should be challenged at Next Level, hence the name. It's not just a fancy term for returners. It's a term that should say, what am I doing to take it to the next level? Which, oddly enough, next bullet for me is level up. I've been watching a bunch of listening to a bunch of podcasts and watching some different Instagram posts from the likes of Gary Vee, Ed Mylett, and John Broman, and just some really great people who have a big following on social media. And I hear the term, and I think this is a millennial term. I think this is a social media millennial leadership term, level up. You guys hear that? Yep. Yeah, you got to level up. This is one guy, Peter Wu. He's a vector trained, and he's got a gigantic following on the internet. He says, yeah, man, you just got to level up. To me, that's like the cool way of saying what? Improve your, like best version of yourself, improve yourself. Okay? And so I have a thought I want to share with you that I shared. David will hear this from Thursday. I want to share with you a thought on leveling up. Here's what I found. Leveling up, when you do it, is one of the most empowering things for your life. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, how do you find ways to level up in whatever areas of your health and your fitness? If you level up on fitness and you start to fit into clothes, or you look a certain way, you go to the beach, you feel confident, it is empowering. When you level up on your grades and your studying and you get A's instead of B's, It's empowering when you level up on your relationship and you say, hey, I'm really all about you, and I'm committed to you, and you pour into the relationship. It is empowering. When you level up at Cutco, it's empowering. When you level up with your friends, when you level up with your health, everything's empowering. That's the key word, right? It's empowering when you do it. Okay. It's also very, very daunting and overwhelming to think about the process, right? So that's the second part. Overwhelming. It's overwhelming to think, okay, well, I want to level up, but gosh, where do I start? And there's so much to improve upon. And I'll tell you, at 40 years of age, I still am confused and overwhelmed with where to level up every day of my life. Okay. But the third part that I think I want to say to you guys, and I said it to our districts, as empowering, as exciting and motivating as it can be, and as overwhelming as the process might be, as you think about it, it's actually overrated how hard it is to start. That's my third word. I think it's overrated. I think it's overrated and overthought. For you hyper rationale people out there, there's like a third of you are hyper rationale. That's your saboteur. It is overrated. Like, well, how do I get started getting fit? How about just go to the gym? How about just put the fries down, bro? Right? How about let me stop drinking on the first 2 weekdays of the week? I mean, I'm trying to create some humor here, but it's empowering when you do it. It's overwhelming to think about the process, but it's really overrated to get started. And so here's my biggest challenge to start our second next level. No matter I'm looking at Luke as the most experienced here, all the way down to our first year. Mason's probably one of our newer, and Skylar and a lot of other brand new people who are assistants this summer. I'm going to challenge you to be as leveled up and as on your game and above the game as you can possibly imagine. Right? And pick an area. So what I want you to do is take 30 seconds. And I want you to pick 2 or 3 areas followed by 1 or 2 action steps in your life where it can just put you in the right direction of leveling up. So it can be health, fitness, family, love, faith, relationships, Cutco, grades, or other. Right? So pick 2 or 3 categories in your life. I'm not going to give you any direction. You pick. And then pick 1 or 2 action steps that are easy, that are tangible, that are no excuse. If you can't do that, then God bless America and God bless your soul if you can't even walk into the gym. Like, go to the gym once this week. Come on. Put an extra power hour for study. Leveling up in your time management. Leveling up in your relationship. Have a date night where the phone is off. Like something easy and tangible. That might not be easy for some of you. Right? So pick 2 or 3 areas. And then 1 or 2 action steps just to get things started. Because here's what I also found. The higher you go next level, the more sometimes we overthink. Right? You just start doing. Because we get overwhelmed because in our great division, we have circles of influences like an Andrew Evans who is running this gigantic organization. He's the keynote speaker at SLC. Lest we forget, he just turned barely 23 years old. Right? Trying to scale multiple businesses. He's reading all these podcasts. It can be overwhelming. But you know what? He's overwhelmed too because he's still trying to push the envelope. The same way that I would feel, I still am trying to figure it out. So is he. But you got to take baby steps. You got to take baby steps. Don't worry about being in the NBA. Just learn how to shoot the ball is what I'm saying. So I'll take another 10 seconds to clarify. 2 or 3 areas. Maybe you need to read a book. Maybe read a page tonight. I don't know. Get something going. And if you're watching this virtually, or I'm sorry, if you're watching the video of this, do this on your own as well. Okay. We'll stop there. Anyone want to share? I'm just curious. Anyone willing to share? Virtual land? You can raise your hand virtually, by the way. That's my new thing. Anyone want to push the blue hand? Who'd like to share? Anyone?
Okay.
We'll go Mike over here since none of you wanted to share. Chicken.
I said fitness and relationship. Fitness, like run on the treadmill at least once a week, and relationship. So like you said, just try not to like touch my phone or my girlfriend. Just really.
Wait.
Yeah. I just thought you would say, "Don't try not to touch my girlfriend." I think you should say hi to her. Yeah. Here's what I say. This 2 weeks ago, I flew out to Evanston, Illinois. Anyone know where Evanston, Illinois is? What college is in Evanston? Who knows what college is in Evanston, Illinois?
Is yours?
Mike Wilbon went there.
I'm right. Illinois University.
No, good guess. Northwestern.
Illinois State.
Northwestern in Evanston, Chicago. Long story short, Evanston, Chicago is a baller part of Chicago. You guys know Walgreens?
Yeah.
It's where the Walgreens live. Like that kind of money. So I got a chance. Heidi and I flew out to see Adam Stock, our financial guy, and we did some like future planning. It was really awesome. He spent the whole. We stayed at his. I want to say house, but house is not the term for what he has.
House.
Like compound. Yeah, he's got a compound, and we stayed there and we hung out and we got to talk about the future. It was awesome. And back just to your point to the phone, I said, "Hey, we're getting married here in a month. You're going to be at our wedding. You guys have successfully raised 3, soon to be 4 soon to be 5 kids. What's your advice to marriage?" So Heidi and I, in our journal, my journal, we have advice from now almost 50 different married couples, and the common theme across all of it. Anyone want to guess the number one? Two common themes that almost everyone has said, or 80% have said. Communication and
Quality time.
more specifically, be engaged, be present.
Punish harshly.
What is it? What is it?
What?
Punish harshly.
Punish harshly. Yes, like consequences would really.
Put them into place.
Yeah, that's right. Put them in their place. So to your point, I said, Adam, what's one of your biggest things? And then he gave a bunch of, those were his general thoughts. And he said, my life changed when I just put my phone away at 6 o'clock. And what I thought I needed to get done after 6 got done later or earlier the next morning. It's the same way with me. You know, in fact, now I'm even sitting in bed and I put that little no more phone. And then I send a message and I'll check the next day. And all these emergencies that would come in suddenly didn't become emergencies, or they kind of figured it out, or became emergencies for Tuesday morning instead of Monday night. So, especially when the Ravens play Sunday. Good point, Mike. Anyone else want to share, Kier? You said you wanted to share?
Yeah, I mean, I did my own personal little level up like a couple weeks ago, and that was like based off of religion. So I realized that like I started going to church more, and I just like who I am more when I'm aligned with what's important. So
Yeah. Here's what I do know. When you pick a category that you really want, that is really going to move your life and you level up, even if you do something really small, you get addicted to that. You get addicted to who you're becoming. Right? So, you know, church, you go to church and you feel good. And you're like, I like that. So instead of this is an easy, I can just show up once, like I want to do it again. Or the treadmill, I like how I feel. Maybe not the first day, your legs like rubber bands, right? Like I like how I feel. This can be a common thing. Hey, I'm reading a book. I'm not a book person. Well, if you say that, then you're not a book person. Right? Cool. How about virtually? Anyone else want to share? This is fun. Anyone care to share what they wrote down? I can call. I don't have to call. Hi, Michael. How are you, handsome?
Do I have to raise my hand?
Yeah. No, you can just go ahead.
I was gonna say fitness, and it's really just like sticking to a routine, and instead of like when I think I can go to the gym, really just like sticking to what I have designed for the week, whether it be 3 times a week or whatever it may be, but just starting and getting back into the routine.
Good. Okay. We'll take 1 or 2 more here or there. Yeah, that's Tristan. Tristan, loud, please, because it doesn't register up here.
But in relationship, intentional dating and conversation.
Intentional what?
Dating.
Intentional dating and intentional conversation.
Oh, I mean, okay. I see. Like because you're single and making sure that you put yourself out there and talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I can relate to that. I can relate to that because lest we forget, I'm 40 getting married. Right? I can relate to. Oh well, you know, they'll come find me because I'm so great. Not really. I tried that in Miami for like 5 years. You gotta put yourself out there. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Good thing the internet. What?
Yes, sir.
Hotfilipinos.com. Done.
Oh my God!
No way.
I'm serious. Well, you don't think that's where we met?
Yeah.
Okay.
Farmersonly.com.
Farmers only. That's right.
You've been here.
If you guys could take a look at the screen, I'll do a quick review, and then I want to get into the mix already with what we're covering. So if you take a look here, everyone, please revert your attention to the screen or television if you're here. Here we go. So this is the series of calls. Here's what I do know. We went through a series of calls like this last fall, and I know for a fact that they were all starred and they were saved. But I also know for a fact that at most a third of the people in last fall's calls went through them before the summer. So here's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a library of mastery. We're trying to create a resource hub for Florida United of the best practices of the best people. Okay? And so here's what's really to your advantage, and here's the opportunity. Think about days 4 through 10 PPR. Kirsten and Grant and Eric. Think about Dalilo, and you have offices. And wouldn't you want to increase your back-end PPR? Let me say it a different way. Wouldn't you want more of your people to sell after the first weekend and stick around? Well, the resources are here. Last week's message I thought was a great message. Not because it's me, but because of the content, right? Days 4 through 10. High-powered phone jams. Don't you wish you were averaging more like 5, 6, 7, 8 per rep versus 2 to 3? And so here's what I want to say about the next level group. It's one thing to be present on the call, and I think you're all present. It's awesome. It's another thing to be present on the call, but not apply later. The whole point of this is not present on the call. It's to apply for summer. So whatever you have to do to get organized, I would make sure I'm starring everything. You don't have to rewatch the video right now, but I would keep it on your list. You want to be really advanced, either in your computer or your journal, have a table of contents. Like anytime you're working on a skill, have a see next level video, or however you want to organize it. And what I would do if I wanted to level up my office results, if I'm Eric Palacio, who finished #1 in the region, and I didn't want to rest on my laurels and go, damn, I'm going to take it higher, I would set a time probably from year and banquet on or December on to level up my skills on these things. And to say, okay, for this week, my not fall edge, but my spring edge planning, this week I'm going to watch 1 NLG video a week in January so that by February I have it mastered and all I have to focus on is friending for social media and my programs are all buttoned up. I would take January and February to rewatch. I would take March and April to ask questions to button up. Right? So the resources are here. And if you look at the next section, what we're going to cover in the spring are kind of it's like the other side of the book that we didn't get to cover in the fall that are really important. Like they're doing the job culture. We'll do that closer to the summer. WhatsApp systems. Any questions? Okay, good. Next thing, if you could open up your handouts, there is an evaluation sheet that looks a little something like this. Jackson, I'm not sure if you have the remote. Do you know how to adjust the size so it hits? If not,
typically it does not do that. Typically,
yeah. Is that a racial comment? Nice. Okay. It's not a big deal if it doesn't. Well, we'll figure it out later. No worries. So if you take a look, I'd like you to pull this up for a second. I gave you a Word version. Okay. What I'd like you to do during the next break is fill this out. All right. So during the next break, we're going to go to break here pretty soon after the book review. I'd like you to fill out and do an evaluation, best version of yourself. We put this out 2 years ago for the DM team. And I think it's really I think every semester, every campaign, we're the only company that goes by thirds, right? Every normal company goes by quarters, but we like to do things differently. So every campaign, I think it's worth it to say, all right, where am I at? And then compare it to the campaign before. It'll be really good to see where you regress, digress, or improve. Okay, so things like your psychology, like morning routine, journaling, physical fitness, planning, money. You go to the next section here. We got money again, circle of influence, communication, presentation and image, self-management, and then trust, respect, accountability. Giovanni, you'll appreciate that. Luke, you'll appreciate that. Trust, respect, accountability, and then give yourself an overall score. I believe it adds up to 190. I don't know all the details. And there's no significance to the number. It's just added up to 190 randomly. Right? Well, actually, in the Egyptian culture, do you know the significance of 190? Dalila? In the Egyptian culture of pharaohs and leaders of the ancient Egyptian tribes, do you know the significance of 190? Neither do I.
Well, Ra, the sun god, actually, there's 190 notches that go across the sky, which Ra is watching people during the day. So,
Luke and I are a lethal weapon, by the way. 1-2 combo. Nice job, though. Thank you. Luke and I would kill trivia. Wait a minute. We do kill trivia. All right, here we go. So, everyone cool with that? Let's start with our book review. If you could take out your version of notes. And I would like to go around the horn and list up on the board from the next level. Everyone's predominant saboteurs. Okay, whatever your top 2 score. I don't worry about the number score, just the top 2 for you. Okay. And if it was only one that, like for example, you had one that was hyperachiever, let's say, was a 9.1, and everything else is a 4 or below, then you're just a hyperachiever. But for me, I had pleaser, which was like 8 point something, and then right near it was stickler.
Yeah, I had 10 out of 10.
Okay. So let's do that for a second. I'd like to go around. So we'll go Giovanni, David, Luke, and Erica to start. So Giovanni. Oh, can you hear me?
You can't hear me. Controller?
Okay. There we go.
I don't know why it's just that.
He's feeling
Okay.
And hyperachiever if we're doing both.
Okay. We'll go David, Luke, Erica.
Are you gonna remember the acronyms?
Hyper rationale and hyperachiever.
Rationale.
Dave, you're just hyper.
Okay. We'll go to Luke, Erica, and then we'll go to San Juan.
I was diagnosed.
Same as Dave. Hyperachiever, hyperrational.
Achiever. Rationale. Okay. So Erica, and then we'll go to Chewy.
It was hyperachiever and pleaser.
Okay. Chewy.
Avoider and restless. Restless.
A little bit louder, please.
Avoider and restless.
Man, yeah. We'll go Patricia, Christina.
Mine's pleaser and avoider.
Okay, Christina.
Controller and restless.
Did you have a high hyperachiever as well? Was it up there?
Yep, it's up there.
Yeah, I knew. Uh-huh.
You were.
I was right. Christina asked me. She said, "You said you could guess them," and she reached out and I guessed it. So, good. We'll go Skylar, Tristan, Daniel, Amanda, and Zach quickly. Or maybe you guys can read it off to me. It's probably faster. So we'll go. Who can read off? We'll go Skylar, Tristan. You guys go first. Or someone can read off.
All right, it's a pleaser. And
What?
then
The dog. I can't hear.
I know. Pleaser and victim.
Oh wow. Tristan and Daniel.
Just like that's bad, very bad.
Hyper rational and pleaser.
And what?
Pleaser.
Weezer.
Yeah, Mila. Daniel, and then we'll read the rest off of here.
Hyperachiever and pleaser.
Oh god.
Are you also a builder merchant?
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Amanda is stickler and pleaser.
Amanda Stickler and Pleaser.
Yeah.
Zach.
Hold on, it's a lot harder to find.
Controller.
Controller
Oh, Zach.
and what?
Hyperachiever.
Achiever.
Haha, I beat you too.
Okay, and then we'll go here. We'll go around the horn. Eric.
Pleaser controller.
Okay. Kirsten.
Stickler controller.
Dalila.
Achiever, avoider.
What about DLC is?
Lauren.
Stickler and a controller.
Are you a builder banker?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wait, you're stickler controller?
Are you really builder banker?
Yeah, I am.
Crazy, huh?
You're good at
That's
this.
actually so great.
You should
But I'm
get
stickler
promoted or
controller
something.
and I'm builder merchant.
Yeah. What's your? Do you also have Pleaser high up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's third.
Yeah. there you go.
Third? What?
Okay. Mason.
Hyperachiever and restless.
Can someone give me Eddie's? Okay, Mike. Flyer's not here. So.
Yes.
Can you guess Eddie's?
Is he supposed to be here?
No. Wow.
Yeah, do not see Eddie's.
Eddie's is
Oh wait,
loser
Blyer
and
sent it. I can pull his up.
What's Sullivan?
Oh, hyperachiever controller.
Oh, I found DLC.
Yes, Eddie's is
restless,
Eddie's
hyper
is
rational.
Goober.
Goober and what?
Goober and
Baby ugly laugh.
Eddie's Goober and what?
boner.
Achiever. What is Eddie?
He's restless and hyper rational.
Don't do that to me, guys. Come on.
Okay. Mila.
Stickler and restless.
In the video.
We're gonna get a text from Eddie for sure.
Rob.
I'm a controller and restless.
Okay. Do we have everyone? How about we finish up the 4? Who can find Grant, Josie, Meg, and Bly?
Have you seen that?
So do me a favor.
Josie is hyperachiever and hyperrational.
And then
Oh, like
Hold on,
that.
real quick. I'm going to send a link to everyone right now.
When?
I would like everyone to go and find their top 2 scores, and I'm going to give you like 2-3 minutes to reread the description, like the full description of each one, okay? And then we're going to do a little debrief. So give me a second here. Here.
Jeez, man.
Look at that little towelette.
Okay. There you go. Do me a favor. I want to take the next 5 to 7 minutes. Take your top 2 scores, and I want you to reread the entire description. And we're gonna have an exercise. Mila, one more time. Josie?
Yeah. Josie is achiever and rational.
I'll do the rest. You can.
And then Blyers, pleaser, restless.
Okay. Maggie.
Wait, you said you got the rest? I can look for it.
Yeah. I need Grant and Maggie.
Oh, there's a section.
This really hits home. Hits me in my feelings.
It's me, my
It's like when you read your horoscope, but 10 times worse.
Did we find Grant? Did we find
Yeah,
Grant?
I'm
and Maggie?
looking and taking. What? I don't know. Did Grant send him?
Right is right and wrong is wrong, and I know the right way. That's me. If you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all.
Here's Insta bio.
Oh my God! Stop.
Did we find Maggie? What are your top 2, please?
I don't think Grant posted.
We can't find yours. What did you post yours?
Why would he run like that?
He's got to unmute it.
Okay, it's 5.
Grant didn't send him. Is he okay?
Maggie, I just need your top 2 or 1, either one.
Yeah, hyperachiever and stickler.
Is that what you posted?
Hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And then who else are we missing?
Grant, he's not on here.
Hyperachiever and Stickler.
Is that you guessing? Oh, I found Maggie's.
Okay, Achiever and Stickler.
Yep. Grant's is it.
Yeah.
Grant's is probably whatever Eddie's is. Just put it down. Put down Eddie's times 2.
Okay. Everyone continue to read through, and then we'll have a quick discussion just a second.
It's so painfully accurate.
I get that a lot.
No, engineering major.
Look at this. You want to see thermodynamics?
Thermodynamics is rough.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, I don't know what to do there.
That's what Becky is. You right now.
I know. I'm like, whenever someone's like, I need to explain this to everyone, like, asks me. Like,
Yeah, actually, you can think about it. You know, like models and stuff.
I know. Wait, I have to read both.
If all else fails.
Engineering and
Rough.
Doodle Bob.
anxiety-based.
Does it mean you've already read through it? You guys have already read through it?
Yeah, but it's like too much. Like it's like being too rational. That's what I.
Well,
It's like
so
it's
accurate.
It's so accurate.
No, but like I'm 10 out of 10 on both.
Keep going, guys. Make sure. I want you to make sure you read through the full description of both. This is important for the exercise. Read through. And I'm going to ask you at the end of this. The first thing around the horn is, what's standing out besides the fact that it's scary accurate.
If you understand it, you can work to improve it.
Part of it. I'm taking it. Keep going. Read all the way through. Hyperachiever, restless. No, hyperachiever. Yeah.
Restless.
Pleaser. You have high pleaser.
It's 6.9.
What's your second highest?
Controller.
Yeah. Okay. So hyperachiever, controller. You builder, merchant, builder, banker.
Merchant builder.
Yeah. Cool. All right, real quick. I'm gonna take another 30 seconds. I'm gonna share some of my takeaways as this is my second time through the material. So, and Mila and also Kirsten and Jackson and Eric, I need your help to remind me when we go to break to not to pause the broadcast before I play the music. Otherwise, it's gonna copyright and we're gonna lose they're gonna mute the YouTube. So if that happens, it's all your fault.
Okay.
Thank you. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
Okay, so I'm going to put up on the screen a few. I found some really good visuals that I think will help for the discussion. So take a look here. So positive intelligence. So you guys have heard of IQ, right?
Yep. Yeah.
What does IQ stand for?
Intelligence quotient.
Intelligence quotient. So that's really a mark of your intelligence. Okay, I guess essentially how smart you are. Doesn't it account for book smarts? So that's like the fundamental base. And it's really cool and also appropriate for our company because of the types of recruiting that we do. To be successful with us and really in any business, you don't necessarily have to have high IQ. Like you don't have to have great book smarts. Now, can it help and can it help in certain industries? I think sure. I think if you're an analyst, I think if you're working with a lot of numbers, I think IQ certainly can help you surge. Okay. The more I read this, the more I realize that anyone can be successful with us. And in business, you just have to know how to do it around and navigating through some of these saboteurs, right? So there's IQ. Before you get to positive intelligence, right? Does anyone know the other Q? There's IQ, and there's EQ. What's that stand for?
Emotional.
Yeah, there's emotional intelligence, okay? And that's being self-aware and understanding feelings. And there's certainly a place for that. But see, what's great about positive intelligence, some people take years and decades to become kind of emotionally intelligent. And it's a muscle, you can develop it. But positive intelligence is essentially the quotient and understanding of how to create a happy and high efficient factor. That's what I gather from this twice. Meaning, when you can understand this, you can just operate at peak level. Okay? Because to be, I guess, fair, you can be really self-aware and have a high emotional intelligence. I think I have an extremely, extremely high EQ. Like emotionally, I'm aware, understanding, and empathy, but that doesn't mean I'm always operating high level. Because if I have high EQ, like I emotionally understand myself and others, but I don't have good positive intelligence, then these saboteurs are keeping me. It's like a ball and chain as I dive into the ocean to go swimming. I might be a good swimmer, but I can't go with these saboteurs. You guys understand that? So here's what I'll say. Emotional IQ is kind of set in stone. You can't get someone who, I'll say this in a way for humor, you can't get a dumbass really intelligent. Someone who's not book smart and just for the life of them can't convert on intelligence. And I probably shouldn't curse, but that's my one, right? I guess is that my one?
You have a couple more.
No, I don't. It's one. I get one. Okay. So
I didn't hear it until you pointed it out, so it doesn't count.
there you go. Thank you. Mommy, he said butt. Sorry. Mommy, he said the butt word. Okay. So you can't increase or decrease. Oh, you can decrease intelligence, I guess, right? But you can't really jump your IQ. You can kill brain cells, right? Too much weed, too much alcohol. I'm serious. Like you can clinically proven you can kill brain cells with maybe not weed, but we'll see. Science. Emotional. That is a hard. I mean, emotional intelligence. You can work on that. And that takes time. That takes mastery. That takes experience. What doesn't take experience is positive intelligence. What doesn't take experience is awareness of when you filter something through here one way, how it comes out. Okay. It's kind of like a rule. I think Andrew talks about this. It's like a machine. It's like a program. It's a computer. If you can understand how to rewire it, or just be aware when it comes out. Think about this. When you guys ever recognize a trigger with your parents? Like, if I do this, I know mom's going to say this, and for sure, Sean's going to do that. I hear that from Kirsten all the time. I know my parents, and mom will say this, but my dad will say that. Okay? So if you're a smart adolescent, which I think you all are, you navigate through that. Knowing that mom's going to say this, and then dad will say that, I might do it a different way. You work around it, okay? So you don't get in trouble, or so you don't get the wrong reaction. Like, my mom doesn't need to necessarily know all the details. She just needs to know the final bill because she wants to pay for the wedding rehearsal dinner, right? I know if I give my mom the details, she's going to call me 7 times an hour to ask questions that I just don't have time, nor the desire or the energy or the heart to answer. But if I just say, Mom, I took care of it, I took care of it, I took care of it, here's what you can contribute, she doesn't need to know I'm paying for half of it still. So I won't let her pay for the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is your portion. Wow. And they're ready her rent. That is so cheap. I'm paying for 2/3 of it. She doesn't know. Yeah, I worked out a good deal, like with my bank account. That's what I worked the deal with. But she doesn't need to know the details. That's me working around mom. Okay? If you can understand, we can understand this, man, it's the same thing when you start to catch yourself. And I think Scott did a good job at SC2 starting the conversation. But for us, it's about recognizing and saying, oh, there it is again. There's the judge. It always what? Goes judge first, then they're the saboteurs. So take a look here. I found this to be a really interesting way to put it too. So scientifically, these saboteurs are actually meant to help us. Anyone remember why from the book? Why are the saboteurs?
Survival.
Yeah, to survive life, right? Fight or flight response. The sympathetic or parasympathetic system. Or I don't know, my pre-med day. Sorry. Okay. So the voice, right? The saboteur and the sage, easy. Orange is bad, blue is good, right? The saboteurs are gonna keep you back and not efficient, and the sage is the positive way. To me, I think of sage, I think of Latin Greek mythology, I think of like positive. Focus is to survive, and the positive intelligence sage is to thrive. So if you think about emotions, just look at the difference in emotions, and you can already tell which one you should and we want to go to. Anxiety, anger, regret, disappointment, shame, guilt, and blame. Like, what world is that? That's like a stressful, bad D2 situation versus curiosity, empathy, joy, creativity, peace, calm, resolve, and there's the word. There's a united word, gratitude. Right? Gratitude. So, and this was the part that was really, really scary for me. It said, what's your motivation? And you go across, there's independence, acceptance, and security. Right? What's your primary motivator, and what's your primary style? To avoid, to earn, like to move your life forward. Do you avoid problems? Do you earn and achieve more, or do you assert? And I, without even looking at this quadrant, I just said, okay, I definitely like to accept, and I definitely like to earn. Like, I like to achieve, and I love acceptance and team and harmony. And right in the middle is the pleaser, my highest score. It was really, really interesting. So for me, and I'll send all these pictures to you during the break, I think it's really interesting to see what's your highest one. So Mila, what's your highest one, and is it by a lot? What's a stickler?
10.
10, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Engineer mind, to me that makes sense. Stickler, right? Seems to me, and maybe this is accurate, your motivation versus security acceptance would be more independence. I don't know if that is accurate, may or may not be. But style may be to earn and to achieve. Does that look accurate to you? To some degree? You can say yes or no, Stickler. See, exactly.
Wait, were you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were looking at the computer. What was your question?
Hila, do you feel like you are motivated by independence more so than acceptance and security?
Yes.
Okay. And do you feel like one of your mechanisms in creating success is to earn and to achieve?
100%.
Yeah. So it's like those memes on Instagram where like if you add your birthday to the year, it ends up being blank. You're like, oh my gosh, every time. It's like math. It's kind of the same thing. Okay. And then here's the part I also want to share too. This was a really good, I guess, chart that I found. So it's got the saboteur on the left, and I'll send this to you on a picture. The strength of it, right? So I'm a pleaser. So let me give you an idea. Pleaser. The subverted meaning like the lie you tell yourself or how you justify the saboteur. So for me, I justify by saying, well, I'm carrying out, I'm compassionate. Okay. The description, constantly helping, pleasing, or rescuing others, hoping to be liked. And the lie is I do this to help and expect nothing in return, when in actuality, we pleasers really want something in return. We want acceptance, we want respect. You know, that's why for me, once I get past the judge, my pleaser in me is why I feel so really overly disrespected by things like people not being on time or wanting a please and a thank you so much versus, you know, maybe one person, you know, I remember one time recently in the last few months, I said in my head, my saboteur was saying, what an ungrateful son of a bitch. We just did blank, no thank you. And then later on they said, yeah, I just didn't want to thank you in front of public like everyone else because it doesn't seem genuine, but I wanted to tell you one-on-one. Thank you. I went, oh shit. You're not an ungrateful son of a bitch. But my saboteur made him an ungrateful son of a bitch. It wasn't you, Jack Story. Right? So you think of all that, or maybe the thing that my mechanism, my phrase that pays for me to kill my pleaser saboteur is, hey Jeff, it's not about you. It's like, hey man, it's not about you. Oh, and that's the phrase I've been telling myself the last few months when I feel like the pleaser coming along and unnecessarily high disrespect factor feeling and wanting to please you. It's like, oh, it's not about you. Or if you know someone's in a bad mood and they're venting and it sounds like they're projecting, it's like back to 4 agreements. It's not about you, Jeff. Oh, cool. And then also nicknames. You guys read that part where you give your saboteurs nicknames? Yeah. All right. My saboteur judge I called High and Mighty. Oh, there's High and Mighty. Because to me, High and Mighty like is not positive. I think of someone who's just overly pompous and like, judging people. It's like, oh, there's High and Mighty. So, and then the pleaser for me is the mayor. Oh, there's the mayor. Those are everyone. Oh, here comes the mayor. In fact, ironically enough, I said this twice this week to people I met, and I talking about Baltimore. I said, yeah, I'm like the mayor of Baltimore. Like in my mind, I think, oh, that's a good one. There's the mayor again, trying to be know everyone and please everyone. So I think there's a place for it, but just being aware. Okay, and I'm going to get some feedback in just a second. And this is later on as you read, and depending on, you know, I think this book review is definitely 10-80-10, right? There's 10% of you who really absorb the book and are applying and could have super intelligent discussion. We could get a really nice bottle of wine and have great discussion. And there's 10% of you who totally BS'd and just, you know, looked on the review online and just took the test only. And I'm not going to call you out. I don't need to. And 80% is like somewhere in between. When you get to a level where you're really processing this, those of you that actually apply and then choose to apply, I think it's really good to see where PI can impact those 4 parts of your life: family, self, community, and work. And I'll send you all the pictures. Okay? So I'll start there. I would love overall or specific, any light bulbs that have come from your findings as you read it, and also a little discussion that we had here. Okay? We'll open up the table. And then perhaps later I'll talk about how this can apply later. Kier.
I think it was just kind of eye-opening because like I've always known that I'm like a super perfectionist and when things are not going my way, it like bothers me. And I've already known, so like taking this test, it's kind of like, oh, I already like this is so accurate. But I think it's like what you do with the fact that you know this information, how are you going to change it, or how are you going to like avoid it, type of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, for me reading through it, I was just like, oh, this is not brand new information about myself, but what can I do in order to like gain that kind of positive intelligence? Yeah, for me, if there's any, I guess Mike uses the term the gift in this for you. For me, I'll say the system. When you're operating your business or you're operating your school, anytime you feel that red, anxiety, fear, depression, anger, any of that comes up, being able to recognize right away, okay, judge, how's the judge playing a part? What's my saboteur playing a part in right now? It's just a way less stressful life. Like when I feel like at the end of the day, I mean, I'm getting married in a month. At the end of the day, no one gives
this is my one. No one gives a shit about whether the document you hand out in the next level group, which half of you guys don't even check, is exactly formatted the way I want it and it's perfectly professional, or it's pretty good already, but damn, Jeff, it's already pretty damn good. But I got to go through it's just not worth my anxiety. You know, it's not worth the time to just overthink it. And by the way, I also don't want that to be an excuse to give B player work. Like, I always want to give A player work, but man, maybe we already give A player work. That's the stick learning, you know. So good. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share about virtual land? I'd love to hear a thought or two from some of you guys. We'll go. Oh, hand up in. Oh, there's a hand up in. San Juan, there's a blue hand. Christina, and then Luke. Nice. You have. It's hard to hear you. Can you put the computer or switch places with Christina, or eat the computer or something?
My biggest takeaway was denying yourself empathy is setting yourself up for constant beauty, because I'm a very high pleaser, and that really resonated with me personally.
Anyone who's got high pleaser here? I got pleaser.
I do. Amanda, Daniel, Tristan.
Yeah, there are a lot of pleasers out there, right? Me too. I think part of it, you know, pleasers, we have to be careful. Back to 4 agreements, not taking things so personally, right? And maybe you steal my self-comment of, hey, it's not about you, right? With pleasers, we tend to overthink, are they mad at me? Like, did I say something wrong? Should I send another message? Should I make it right? Should I apologize? And then they're on watching football, not giving a crap about what happened. You're like, oh. And all that energy wasted. You know, pleasers are really good at not asking the direct question, like beating around the bush or like making assumptions versus, hey, are you mad? Hey, did that piss you off? Oh shit, my bad. All right, cool, we good. All right, cool, we're good. That takes 2 seconds versus whatever the hell I did that night. It's like, oh my god, he said this, but maybe he meant this. I don't know. My gosh, crazy. Yeah, let's go to Christina. Are you trying to chime in?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest takeaway. Oh, sorry. Was just basically reading the book that my inner judge and controller was saying, no, you need this. Like, oh, you can't let go. That's what makes you you. And then him actually just saying in the book, oh, they'll try to say that you need them, and you know, just like taking that into consideration, you know, labeling it to be aware next time.
Yeah, and if you got to the part, those of you that went on to really, I guess they had systems or techniques to get engaged and focused, like when brushing your teeth and all that. This actually works. It's really weird. Did anyone try some of that stuff already? Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my big takeaway.
Yeah, go ahead, Luke.
Was don't sleep on those PQ exercises, because I think especially for someone like me, it's a lot like meditating without all the mush. You know, I'm obviously not one that's super in touch with my feelings and super like meditating. Like I don't get my chakras aligned or anything, but I think it's a good. I mean, it's a good thing that kind of accomplishes the same thing without all the fluff, you know, where, you know, it really does like train your brain. I downloaded those like the audio files for the 5-minute one, the 15-minute one, and I'll do them all the time. And those are a game changer. You know, when we talk about things to actually implement from the book, I think that's something that people should be doing every day.
And that,
get those 100
Luke, you stole one from me, but at the same, you're just making the point that we're aligned, that we are one. But that 5-minute one,
you stole mine.
Yeah, I stole yours. You can put that into your morning routine. I mean, and it's audio file. I mean, it's pretty easy to apply, is what I'm saying. Make it user friendly. So, anyone else in virtual land?
Has anyone done them? They're pretty funny. It's like flex all your muscles. Now unflex all your muscles. It's like, okay.
I like it.
Yeah, the first one's face. So I'm sitting there on like the plane in the airport, like
yeah. And then the mom's like, honey, don't stare. Don't stare. God loves everybody. As Luke's going like that. That's right. Let's
my
go.
hyperachiever is named Kevin Durant.
That's right. Hyperachiever. Yeah, hyperachiever, please.
It means you're not achieving at peak state, LeBron.
That's right. We have a Clearwater hand up. And can you put the computer close or walk up to the computer? We're Clearwater. Or is that Michael's hand? Michael, is that your blue hand going up, or is that someone else's blue hand? I cannot hear. There you go.
One of the things for me was my pleaser and like hyper rational, they like to fight with each other. So it was really cool like to break down what that feelings I've always felt were and kind of be able to separate them and know how to attack them moving forward.
And tell me more about how they compete with each other or how they fight.
Yeah, so kind of you mentioned the pleaser me doesn't like confrontation, but in a hyper rational analyzes everything and then that kind of comes up naturally. And so then it's a constant battle of should I say something or should I not say something? Or do something or not do something.
Yeah, and you overthink it. Yeah. It's funny. I think when you go opposite of what your saboteur says, it seems so painful, but it's actually so effective. Like for me, to confront when I want things to be good as a pleaser, it almost always moves it in a way more efficient and more honest direction. Almost always. When it's respectful, right? Instead of, oh, it's okay, I won't say anything, I don't want to make him mad, and you just let it boil and fester and then explode later. So, good. Thanks, Christian. Who else? How about over here? Any other? What stands out for you on this? Good. We'll go Eric and then Dalila.
It's just intriguing to see all the diversity on the board. See how everyone in their own way is so different. How it relates to them when you take it off the board and you look at them as an individual. And how the systems we have in place still allow everyone to be so different, but for us to still achieve really great results, although we're so different.
Yeah. The thing, one of the things that's interesting, you can justify anything, right? I can justify the 10-hour work week. That's a book. I can justify you got to grind and hustle and earn your pay because these millennials don't know how to work. You can give evidence for both, right? You can put a post that says, school, what a scam, 4-year degree. Look at all these successful people who never got one. And then I can put a post up of my degree and how smart I am and how successful. I mean, you can justify anything, right? You guys agree with that? But I think the key is to see both sides, to be very aware about that, and be able to process things appropriately, like not to polarize. That's kind of how I've been. I was recommending a podcast last time, Arthur Brooks, but like he's got me aligned with. You got to see both sides and see what do both sides want. And so I think this can help all of us be really focused. And in fact, what's really cool is at the district manager staff meeting in October, we're all going to share scores and we're going to go through every single district manager and talk about their score and how their saboteurs can come out and some strategies. Because I think as we understand how each other works, like for example, I'll use Mike as an example, Bromwitz. Michael and I think have a really good working relationship. And I would say there was a time when I wasn't his division manager where I was like, I would never work well with Mike. But once I understood how Mike operated, and now more so his saboteurs and vice versa, it's really easy to connect and have communications. And Mike's actually the easiest district manager to work with in the whole division. But we both intentionally took the time to say, well, let's figure each other out and not try to get people to want to empathize for us. Let's try to get ourselves to empathize and put ourselves in other people's places. And it really works. And this is another tool. CVI is a tool. Love languages is a tool. This is our third tool in 3 years of how do we get people to put yourself in other people's shoes so that you can empathize, not fight so hard to get people to understand you. Cuz ready? It's not about you. There it is, full circle. Other takeaways? Aha, Dalila, you're up. Go ahead.
I think just for me, the biggest thing that I got from it was naming the voice and recognizing it. And I have hypervigilant, and I named her the warrior, and like she's always worries. So now I can recognize that, and just the physiological kind of reaction. And you talk about releasing stress, and like I always had that feeling, but I could never like recognize it. And I'm finally recognizing it. It just helps you learn like so much about yourself. So
yeah, if you wonder why I am so adamant about the self-awareness and all these things, is because really I'm just doing to you what I really wish I had when I was in TLA. I had a great TLA experience, and I think it missed a lot of what we teach here. And if I can see you guys
cut the losses and accelerate and cut the learning curve. You know, there's a reason why all the answers for development and deployment are coming out of United again, year after year, in a respectful way. And I think a lot of it has to do with we think in a different way. So, any other questions? Outstanding. I'd like
Amanda has some.
Amanda, and then we'll go to the break. It's like go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, kind of like what you said. Recognize it. I'm really trying to size like crazy, but being able to recognize these saboteurs and get personal clarity, and kind of the same thing of what Tristan said, which is they actually like fight with each other, because I had a 3-way tie for like my number 1, which was stickler, pleaser, and controller. So pleaser and controller are like total opposites, and just a lot of self-awareness now, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. It's worth reading it a couple of times too. So here's what I would say. Let's take 30 seconds. I would like your biggest takeaways from this discussion and a quick action step you could get down for your notes. And if you're doing it Jeff Gimbo DVM style, you've got the agenda out, you've got an action step list, and takeaways after each section of the agenda. That makes it a lot more organized to go back to. It's also the stickler in me. In your notes. Some biggest takeaways from this discussion, how it might apply to you, to your business, to your future, and then an action step or two for you. Make use of this. Your ring is from Tiffany's. It's called an Atlas ring.
Atlas?
Mm-hmm. Is that Roman numerals?
Yeah. It's my mom's. I gotta feel like I use those.
Take another 20 seconds, 15 seconds. And then Jackson and I will want a Ryder Cup update. Just a bit, please.
We're getting rocked, Jeff.
We are getting rocked, and I don't know why we didn't just why do we just keep the same pairings? Should have just kept
8-4. Really bad. Yeah.
Okay, here's what we'll do. It is now 8 after. I just wanted you to know that. Yes, music.
I was about to say, I was getting panicked. I was like,
What I'd like to, I'd like to take a break, but I also want you guys to fill out that questionnaire. So we'll take a 20-minute break. Okay. So between getting up, using the restroom, and getting this done, it is now 8 after. So we'll do 28. Well, you know, we'll just go 10:30. Hard start 10:30, please. So by
that's so much room for activity.
there's so much room for using the restroom and enjoying life. Perhaps going outside for a smoke jewel break, you know, whatever you do. All right, guys, we'll take music in a second. We'll take 10:30. Let's evaluate the form. Let's get the forms filled out. Take a break. We'll come back. Thanks, guys.
Wait, stop the broadcast.
Okay.
Wait, stop the broadcast.
That's a,
Okay, back at it. If you could pull up in the files the picture of last year's proposed DMBM schedule for reference. I'll put it up on the television in just a second. And I also have it up on the board here. Welcome back, Clearwater. Welcome back, San Juan. Welcome back, Luke and Giovanni. Welcome back, David Delgado. Welcome back, Erica. And we missing a hub? No, we're good, right? We are good. Okay, so the discussion is this: the ideal weekly schedule, and we did this last year, ironically enough, at the Tallahassee prep in October, but since we switched it, so we're doing this a little bit early. I think what I'd like from those of you that actually ran an office, I'll go PSM, David, since you've gotten a chance to run your own office, Mike, if he's available there, Amanda, Zach, having branched, okay, David Vargas, if you're there, Luke, here, Dalila, Eric, Kirsten, right, if you've gotten a chance to run the office, Jackson, of course. I'd like to get your take, and if you look at the next level group, I kind of prepped some questions. So if you take a look where it says my dogs. Oh no, that's not the one.
No, it's the one.
Before my dogs. Right, I'll take a look at the. What does the ideal weekly schedule look like? Like what's most efficient? What yields the greatest results? Focus on best practices. If you could just go back, and I want to hear from Eric and Kirsten, Dalila here, like our branches, Amanda, Zach, over Maggie, and Clearwater. I want to hear from Luke. I want to hear from David. I want to hear from David. What are some things that really have to make the list? Because in a nutshell, I want to go through the schedule, but also just to make sure, you know, it's going to end up looking like this here. Let me see. This is what we did last year. Okay, so you can see up here on television, this is the picture you have on your computer. This is what you have. This is from my CAP, which is my one-on-one session from Scott. And then in Tallahassee, we ended up doing this, which we'll come back to. This was after the summer, after a really nice summer. We went through the 7-day schedule. At the bottom of each day, we put down the big 3 objectives that have to get done to define a successful Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth. Okay. Ironically enough, and I think the challenge was, I mean, we talked about it, right? We put in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40. So we had a schedule set up for 30 to 40 fire number. But if we remember from a month ago at the first prep, what was one of the biggest downfalls of why our summer production from new DMs and BMs being down? It's that the managers themselves didn't set the PRs. And then now we know for this coming summer, we also didn't have any help, either PR callers, receptionists, whatever you want to call them. We didn't have that scaled out. So this year, I'm confident that our branch managers, our new districts with no help, should be getting 20 to 30 set on their own. And then you add on at least one caller for a branch, that's 40 to 50 set. And then if you're a returning branch or a new district, let's say like Eric, right? Then I would have 2 receptionists and get to like 60, 70 set, and what that will yield. Right now we're in the pilot, it's non-summer. I know if you're from the pilot, this seems like such a low number, but we're getting about 60 to 80 PR set, rough on the high end 80, on the low end 50, 60 set. But it's massively making a difference for us. Same thing a couple weeks ago in Metro Miami, like that number of being able to get 50, 60 set. For a branch manager, your 20 plus the 20 to 40 on top of it's going to make all the difference. And I think that's what's going to turn the corner. And I think I'd like to get feedback on just what were the pitfalls of the summer and that we have to keep in mind for the schedule, and what are things that went well that we have to make sure we keep. So I'll just kind of open it up to everyone before we go to the pictures here. And this is a little bit from the debrief from last time, but more specifically towards the schedule. If you're gonna raise your hand, it's got to be in blue and electronically. Eric.
I think I just left a lot of CPO over the summer. I was inconsistent with setting my PRs on a weekly basis. I was over 15 every single week, but I never really got into the 30s, 35s that I saw other people doing. I think it was a combination of me getting in my own head and overthinking because I had kids on my team that I couldn't find the time to do it, rather than just setting aside the time to do it. Had times in my schedule, but during those times I would let non-important things take over. So it was just kind of like figuring out the time to prioritize when I should be setting PRs.
Yeah.
If I had set more PRs, I would have shipped a lot more this summer because I only set like 200.
Yeah, and what was the goal? The goal was if you get 20 a week for 10 weeks, what's 20 times 10 is 200. But some branches didn't even break 100 or 50. Like we have multiple branches at our table that didn't even break 60 PR set personally. But the goal minimum was to set 200. What did you set?
I said about 200.
Yeah, about 200. But
I wanted to set 250 to 300.
yeah. And this is by the way and there's some direct correlation. I want to be careful not to make it too much of a correlation, but 200 set hit the plan, number one branch. I got to imagine if a branch is setting 200, the averages go up tremendously. So that's what I wrote down here, which I'll put there in a second. I put down prioritizing fire number. Luke, you're up.
Is that hey, Jeff, can you hear me?
Go ahead. Mike, sorry.
I just want to clarify, is that manager set only or total including conveyor set?
That's just the manager, what they call and set for themselves, like fire number. Right?
Cool.
So I mean, it is pretty clear cut and dry, and I'll go to Luke next, that if a manager was getting their 20 to 30 set, they had business going. And again, the missing element for next level, all of you guys here, is getting one, or if it's approved, 2 people to help you get even more called. So if you can get 20, you have another receptionist, 1 or 2 more that gets 20, that's another 40 to 60 plus your 20. 60 to 80 is going to yield you what? 5 launches a week? I don't know the exact, 5 to 7 launches a week of the people you wanted to call.
Plus your staff.
Plus if you have a staff as a district. I mean, that doesn't include conveyor, which is kind of set it and forget it. That's the difference between Eastern region and the rest of the company this year. We're going to go to SLC Jackson, and everyone's going to talk about pushing everything more to conveyor. But what we're finding is we're the region that doesn't want to just make it easier. We're the region that wants to keep holding on to this old.
Yep.
Why do we want to hold? Like Luke will speak about this in a second. He just came from a meeting. Like everyone wants to just, God, that's like old school. We got to just send it to conveyor, and it's just easier. But pleasing methods, pleasing results. And we as a region, there's no gap. It's like Luke and I were talking about NFL defense. There's like the top, and there's a big gap. It's the Eastern region and the results we get on PR, and there's a huge gap. And it's because we're not just trying to automate it and send it to India, outsource it. We're not just trying to send it to conveyor in Michigan and outsource it. We're trying to muscle it. We're targeting our best people. So Eric, that's a big one. Prioritizing fire number. Kirsten, we'll go. Let's go Kirsten back to Luke because Kirsten.
Kind of just saying, when it comes to PRs, like I think there was always a set time. Like you should be setting PRs at this time. But I think the main downfall is that we kind of, I mean, personally, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm realizing that if there's openings in my schedule elsewhere, I need to be setting PRs during them too, and not just like when the schedule says so. And I know that was like a very prominent thing that we talked about. Like just because the schedule says to do this at a like X, Y, and Z at a certain time doesn't mean you can't be altering your schedule to fit things in other places.
I put down situation boss, right? So there was a point where it was pretty clear that, okay, this is great schedule for if you have a team, right? And I had this conversation with the now one of the new DMs, but they were this past summer. I said, well, how come we didn't set more PRs? Well, and their quote was, well, I had it in my schedule to manage the team. I said, the 2 reps shipping $1,000 a week? That took all Saturday? And so there's this, it's like I'm stuck on the schedule. Don't get stuck on the schedule, stuck on the outcome. Get stuck on the outcome. The outcome for us, and we'll talk about this later, is bare minimum, but I would say up to 40 fire number per week. 20 to 40, it depends, right? 40 means, or here's what 40 is. 40 is you got no team, and you're hustling and you're trying to build. 20 is I've got a lot of people on my team, but I got to make sure I get my 20. That's the range there. Okay. Luke, I'll have you chime in. Luke just came back from a task force meeting. Let me give you the short story. We had a task force, which was a hand-picked group of districts, division managers, and region managers designed to tackle 2 different topics to help build the company, grow the company. One is social media task force. One is PR task force. Well, they just decided to merge them for this gigantic like mega task force. And in Chicago, they had their first meeting. Mike Abramovitz represented our division there on the social media side. Luke on the social media side, and Luke's got a lot of takeaways. And Luke, maybe you reference that meeting, what you were just saying or about to say.
Yeah, I mean, just coming back.
I'm here at my 10 o'clock appointment,
What is happening right now?
and I have my mother here, and
You guys hearing that too? You got a 10 o'clock appointment? All right.
Wait, who is taking PDI?
Who was that?
Sorry, that was me.
What was me? Dave.
Just had to,
All right, but yeah, coming back from that meeting, I mean, I didn't really realize this, but we really are the model for how many PRs to hold back and how to maximize, conveyor usage with manager set PRs. So that's just an interesting takeaway. But when it comes to observations on the schedule, I'd say, yes, situations boss be flexible, but I think the easiest thing to push to the back burner is PRs. So having the set times that you're, come hell or high water, these are the times that I'm no matter what setting PRs. And being disciplined with that is really important. Most notably on Sundays, I was coming in a couple hours late on Sundays per agreement with schedule with Jeff, but I think that was the most crucial time to be in, because Sundays just are hard to navigate when it comes to running a phone jam and PRs once you have a team. So being really disciplined about getting in, your Saturday calling as well as Sunday, from 1 to 3 before reps start coming in and really maximizing your fire number at that point. Incredibly important. So I'd say that's one big overarching theme. And then the next one is making sure that you're spreading benchmark PDI over Thursday and Friday. Back in the day with, 3-day training, we were able to dedicate a little more of our Friday for benchmark PDI, but this summer we just weren't getting it completed because 2-day training, that second day is a little longer than your normal Friday. So make sure you're getting your top kids on Thursday to prioritize them, get those in, and then doing scoop up benchmark PDI on Friday.
Yeah, that's a big productivity one. What he's saying is make sure you don't wait till Friday to talk to your people about benchmarks. And if you just a reminder, benchmark PDI coming from the pilot 2 years ago, where you go through your whole fast start group, you put 1, 3, 6K10, and you put everyone under a category of what you can push them to by Monday night. And you're thinking, well, 1K, they only sell 1K. If I could have every rep that launched not quit and get to at least a K, we'd have $1 million new business summer. Like that's how important getting everyone to finish their faster can be for your team. I wrote down here, and Luke was kind of saying this, but I want to say it more directly. Between Saturday and Sunday, you get to 10 to 15 by the end of Sunday night. So for us in the pilot, I'm going to be very upfront. We didn't call any PRs on Saturday except for like 1 or 2 emergency Saturdays. Right? Mila's, right in front of me. We had one Saturday where everyone was going to set their 5. I remember Kirsten went on a mission to set like 20. I don't remember how many. What was the most you set on a Saturday?
Like 30 or something.
Yeah,
like something stupid.
Yeah, she set between 20 and 30 her cycle on Saturday night because she didn't have a team and she was focused on getting the result. For me, here's the thing about branch. You have limited time. You only have 6, and if you don't do it right, up to 9 if you do it right, launches. You don't have a lot of room for error. So the thing about branch, Al said this best, branch success and branch outcome doesn't really determine someone's ability to rock our company. Because if you just miss the window, you missed it. You could be talented and really pull it. Like, I don't think those of you that did under 50K, I think almost all of you, if not all of you, are capable of shipping 200K. You just didn't hit it. Started late, didn't get it right, office search, all those things that are kind of in and out of our control in some cases. But I put down, you got to get 10 to 15, but I'm gonna recommend for our schedule purposes that on Saturday, and you guys can see the picture on your own. On Saturday is not really a day off. I think the problem is we use that term too much. On Saturday's a day off. I just want to tell you that when we ran business forever, when you're in a branch, we always talk about it's a sprint, not a marathon. You got to utilize Saturdays. There is a part of me that is on the old school. We got to teach these young guys how to work, and I believe that. Districts, it's a little bit different because you can't sustain that year round. But man, for 8 weeks, can you work 7 days a week? I think if I wanted to have a high achieving office, I would pick 8 weeks where I would work every Saturday. Not the full Saturday, but get the result. I would want to get my 10 set on Saturday before I rolled out that night and just take PDI and go out if you wanted or relax. Then Sunday set another 5. I would want to be 15, maybe 20 by Sunday night. Get 5 to 10 on Saturday, 5 to 10 on Sunday. But to Luke's point, I wouldn't bank on Sunday. I would say this. Sunday can get crazy between PDI coming in. and sometimes you don't prioritize it. So if I got my 10 on Saturday, that gives me a lot of good insurance. So I can get 5 on Sunday. I know I can get 5, maybe not 10 sometimes. 5 on Sunday. If I go in with 15, I know I'm going to get another 5 at rep driven. That's 20. I know I can easily get another 5 on Tuesday. That's 25. I can clean up on Wednesday. I can get to 25, 30 every week. And there's a clear line. Anyone that got 20 to 30 every week, line, everyone else, CPO matched for the most part. So other thoughts on the schedule? It's good.
I think as a branch, there were a couple of interviews that I had where I had 15, 20 people set, but no one showed. Instead of just calling it a night up after training on Thursday night, 6:45 interview, no one shows. I mean, there was just times where I went home where I could have just stayed there and set more PRs. I think that was a big
Sunday interview, yeah.
And that was a big area of opportunity for me where I was lazy, I was tired, and instead of just staying and doing it, I went home.
I think that's another situational loss, though. Would that be considered? Because I feel like a lot of the things, like looking back on it, had the time to do, or either it wasn't what we were supposed to do, but like supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like your schedule doesn't. It doesn't matter what your planner says. If you have to do something, then get it done, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like a rep that says, hey, Kirsten, just checking. What'd you do? Well, I just got out lunch with my mom. You're supposed to have a demo, or they canceled.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're supposed to have peer set. If your interview has no one show, I would work really hard because you were supposed to recruit people that day. So what can you do to impact that? I would be calling PRs for sure. And like Kirsten said, even if it's not in the schedule to set PRs, if you don't have much of a team, here's my litmus test or my benchmark. If you don't have more than 5K in new business CPO in a week and you don't have more than 10 reps, you should be setting PRs more than your PDI. Like if you're not shipping at least 5 to 10 grand in CPO and have 10 or more reps, you can't possibly be spending your whole day PDI in reps. I love talking to a manager who says, I just got caught up with PDI. I said, your report is so low. What did you get caught up in? You're not even shipping 5 grand, but you're caught up in PDI all day? No way. And you probably scaled on how much work they actually got done. It's probably 4 hours of real work, another 8 hours of whatever they thought was work. That's what I found. So any other takeaways? I want to go to the schedule here. Maybe Jack, it's like a box of some. Oh, go ahead. Oh, we'll go blue hand over an Amanda. I'm gonna elevate this.
Yeah, cute.
Pretty much everyone pretty much covered it, like setting PRs and times that's not set schedule, but making sure you're all the parts work. I think everyone kind of gets lost in that and don't forget about Snapchat and rep driven, all of those to really boost your environment.
Well, I think this was our DM conversation, Jackson, on Thursday, where if you have a 4 o'clock demo and you're on the Alliance and your demo cancels, what would you want that rep to think about, or what should they be doing if they don't have a demo? What are some phone jam working, period, right? So what could they do?
Phone jam power, attack list.
Ready? Even come to the office.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't have a demo, they cancel. I'm coming to the office to work on my attack list, to do something, not take off because they cancel. So let's say you have crappy names collection. Let's say you launched 10 people, but you only collected 100 names. That's terrible, right? There are managers that say, well, I didn't have a good name collection, so next cycle. You only have 8 cycles. So I wouldn't wait till next cycle. It's, okay, well, what's the next step? I can call back people that I can get in touch with from the previous seminar. What happens after that? I can get back with people that didn't finish off the texting. Well, it's called lost text. What can I do after that? I can call the people that never got scheduled at all. I mean, there are tiers. You can call interview PRs. I don't like interview PRs in general, but if I don't have anything going on, I would call interview PRs if I didn't have anything going on. Once you have a team, I wouldn't call interview PRs, post interview PRs. Michael.
My thought is also on group functions such as Advanced Training 1, such as team meetings. I know that's in the schedule, of course, but I think you could be equipped the right way to maximize an Advanced Training 1 rep driven, and you lock your arms around the top 1 or 2 people that you want to replicate. Same thing in a team meeting function, even on a day 2 of training. And you can get your 30 PRs set up just from those 3 functions if you really needed to. and you set it up the right way. So I just don't want to forget about like the power of an effective advanced training rep driven session for 1 hour and the power of a Wednesday night rep driven session if it's executed the right way.
Ironically enough, isn't that your message? Well, it is. I'm sorry. I know that. Ironically enough, that's Mike's message on how to capitalize. Were you masterfully setting up your own message? Because I thought that was pretty good.
Okay, absolutely. I just want you to pay attention.
That's right. That's right. Nice. Touche. So let's do this. I want to go through the schedule. Then we're going to go back and just like last year, let's go through each day and what are the big 3 outcomes we need to get done for the schedule. Let's stick to, and I think this might be the best way to do it. Let's do specific to recruiting. I think let's keep it to recruiting first. And then the next time, next NLG, we'll come back to this again, and then we'll talk PPR. So you'll have 3 things you got to get done. So it's like every day you have your critical 6, I think someone's called it. What are the 3 things I have to get done recruiting? What are the 3 things I have to get done on a PPR level? I think where we may have gone wrong last year is we did this and we did everything. What are the big 3 overall? Let's do recruiting. Let's do sales. Okay. So if you could please pull up the picture that you have. And the way I would do it for my notes, and if you have a better way for you, that's cool. I would have columns. I would do Monday through Sunday. And I would do it like this. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the day. Oh, these markers. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would have recruiting, and then I have sales. Like, what are the big 3 for each day? So I would have the days of the week. What are my recruiting big 3s? What are my sales big 3s? And then at some point, I'm sure you'll have a spreadsheet for me. Sure. Okay. So I'm going to use different color. Let me review the schedule. And if you can't see this as clearly, it's on the picture for the most part. Let's everyone start with Sunday, please. Let's start with Sunday. So pull up the picture, and that way, if you can't see, you can still follow along. Okay, take a look at Sunday. I have here plan 12 to 1. Here's what I would say. Before that, what's happening before 12 o'clock on a Sunday as an effective, I'm maximizing my schedule for 8 weeks branch? Yeah, so you're having some PDI. Okay. I think there's also some downtime, right? Getting some personal time or errands done or getting some family time in the morning. I think that's more than appropriate. So maybe it's church. Okay. Then you have 12 to 1. And the reason I like that is because Sunday tends to be, well, Sunday's kind of the beginning of our cycle, right, in terms of what you can control. So I like 12 to 1. What are some things we can plan according to recruiting from 12 to 1?
Give you a PRs, ratings.
What's that? Yep. So, for example,
Yeah, who's called who?
yeah, I'll put down PR plan. So from 12 to 1, there's the PR plan. And who do we who's going to call who? Who are the lists I have to prioritize? Then from 1 to 3, it's set 5. Here's my commentary on this one. So many times, like I will text a branch, 3 o'clock, how did you get set? Oh, I haven't set any yet. Why? Because I got caught up in PDI. So 1 to 3, set 5 means no, don't take PDI. Well, I got to close these sales. Here's the emotional attachment. I spent all this time training them, and if I don't pick up, they won't sell, they'll quit. Then you didn't train them. Right? Because when should you have had those conversations about those initial mental shaping and expectation shaping conversations where Sunday doesn't have to be as critical to talk to them every single time? When should those have happened already?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, right? If someone didn't call you on Friday, that means they either didn't do the demo or didn't communicate. You've got to fight like crazy. Here, and I watch Andrew's WhatsApp. Here are all the people that did not call. But it is. I watch Luke. Here are all the people. Where's so and so? This time you have the times. By Friday, Saturday, you should have spoken to everyone. So by Sunday, here's the hopefully a light bulb. You should have already spoken to them to a point where you don't need to critically for 2 hours. How many demos are you really missing? Like in the pilot, I would say we had the pilot and Metro Miami. We had the highest volume this summer. If you think about how much CPO and how many demos we're calling in from 1 to 3 that we missed, let's say we had 50 active on the team. So at most 50. And you guys weren't even shipping a fraction of some of you of what the pilot was shipping. So we were missing maybe 50 demos we could have talked to. and not everyone needed to talk to us. Let's call it 30 or 40 that needed our help. If we didn't pick up from 1 to 3. So if you're a branch, take a quarter of that. You're talking 5, maybe 10 demos where people might need help. And we've already spoken to them the previous Saturday and Friday. I'm not telling you it's not important to take PDI. I am telling you the most important PDI first weekend is Friday, Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday's more or less just cleaning up. In fact, one thing I forgot to add, I'll call it the, like there's a Mike Abramowitz text, right? Mike has these templates of text that's part of our United like WhatsApp program. There's also like the WhatsApp. Right? Just messages that are already saved, template, gets the point across, doesn't take a lot of extra effort. PDI might mean live. PDI might mean sending out a voice app one-on-one to people who need it. Hey, Mike, hey, I just want to tell you I'm excited for this new day. I know you didn't have the results you wanted yesterday, but man, 3 more today, and I think you're looking to book 5. That's going to make all the difference. Remember, play the numbers, and we're just going to reset today. Give me a shot for your next appointment. I'm free all the way up until 1 o'clock, or up until 12 o'clock today. I know you have 1 at 11. Give me a shout. Like that's a voice app in case you can't get a hold of someone. Like I like Sundays for voice apps, group voice apps, one-on-one, and then a few calls that are probably incoming. Okay? So set 5, but really set your 5 or more. Then you have an interview, and here's why that interview. Who can tell me from the branch perspective why is that Sunday interview so important?
So you set up conveyor Friday. It's the first interview.
Yeah, so Friday, you've got people that got sent to conveyor, and that's your first interview. And then if you do it right, that can be one of your biggest interviews. Okay? And then you have your PSP and phone jam. So let's talk about big 3 for Sunday, right? What would you call the big 3 for Sunday for recruiting? Well, what's the primary? What would be the 3 outcomes we have to get done on Sunday, recruiting wise?
Fire number.
Yeah. So
Fire number.
Yeah, hit your fire number. What's the number?
At least 5, 10, ideally.
Yeah, I would call it and see where do you get the other 5. If you get 5 here on Sunday, where do you get the rest? Either here or alley-ooping from your phone jam on your Sunday. So
Or Saturday.
Right, and that's not including Saturday, correct? So I would call it 5 plus minimum. Like you got to get at least 5. Okay, but we'll call 5 to 10. That's what I like. So if you don't have much of a team, it's a lot higher. Any other things with PRs on Sunday or recruiting? For me, interview. You got to sign anywhere. I mean, you got to sign. Eric, what's the most you signed on a Sunday? That big interview.
One day I signed 8.
8, okay. I would say 2 to 10. Can you sign 2 to 10 people to get things rolling? It really depends on your office and your volume. How do you sign 2 to 10 at that interview? Okay.
Triple threat, right?
Yep, and then triple threat, right? Triple threat at phone jam. For me, Sundays and Wednesdays, everyone triple threats before they even start. That's how I see it. That's what Mike's going to talk about. From the districts, anything you add on for Sunday? I mean, those are the big 3. Okay, let's go to Tuesday. So you have Champions Club and PDI. We're going to talk about that the next session. Advanced Training 1. This is a big element. How many PRs should we be getting? So I'm gonna highlight here. So set 5 on Sunday. Put 5. And I'll put 2 to 5. That means we're gonna get 5 set here, 2 to 5 set here. How many? If I'm by myself, no help. How many PRs should I be getting during advanced training? Yeah, you should be getting your 5 pretty easily. That doesn't include the triple threat that you'll call later that night. So I'll be getting 5 here. And where else do you get your 5?
After your interviews,
Yeah.
between just wherever you can.
Yeah. Get 5 over here. So for 2. Yes, sir.
what's the philosophy behind 5 in 1 hour? If we're getting an hour of rep driven, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. I feel like that's a low number. Or are we not getting that from branches or?
Yeah, it's funny. I thought you were gonna say the other way, that it's too high. You're saying how come we only get 5 during AT?
Yeah, I mean, you think about, you have, even if a branch has 3 or 4 or 5 people in front of them that all have people that are, that they all submitted like a top 5, top 10, top 20 list. There's probably at least a dozen that we didn't get a hold of on Sunday.
Yeah.
At least. What's the reason we're only expecting in an hour's time frame we're only getting 5 of them set up?
I would say, this is what I'm thinking. Forget what time of the day. If I have 3 or 4 reps in front of me that have a dozen people that haven't been contacted, how many of those dozen should I set? Just forget the time frame of the day. I think all of them, but like 10. She just said 10, right? But in that 1 hour, how many are you physically able to talk to of those 10? Probably 4 to 5. So I guess what I'm seeing, Mike, is in theory those dozen people should be 10 set, but with an hour's time frame, you may or may not necessarily talk to people. You may have to let that flow over into the evening. But if every branch set 10 PRs on their own during advanced training and set another 5 to 10 that night from triple threat, we'd be booming.
I guess it depends on the phone approach. That makes sense. Like the newer phone approach takes a little bit longer. Like a manager type of phone approach that we were using, it's a little bit shorter. But yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So for me, this is 5.
So it's not necessarily.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a lack of resources. It would be a lack of time. That how much time can I physically spend on the phone with somebody to get more set up there.
Yeah. So to your point, Mike, I'm going to put 5 to 7 rep driven PR, and then later on another 5 to 7 with triple threat. So all in all, what should the fire number be? 10 to 15. 10 to 15, give or take. You add that to the 10 to 15 you should be going into the week with, that's already 25. See, for me, I like insurance. I spend $500 a month, under $500 a month to insure our cars. I think I'm a really good driver. Heidi is a super conservative driver, but I always want to have insurance. To me, getting my 20 set already by the end of Monday is my insurance. That way, anything I get Monday night and by Tuesday is putting me closer towards 30 or over 30 versus I got to fight to hit my number. That's why I like Saturday in banking. So for me, I'm going to put here under Sunday, 10 plus by the end of the day. Right. This includes Saturday. So my Sunday might only be a 5 to 10, but when it's all said and done, including Saturday, I want to be a 10 set for the cycle. 10 plus for cycle. I'm actually going to challenge to be 15. So let me restart over. You might only get 5 to 10 on Sunday, but I would want our managers to be 10 to 15 for the whole cycle, which includes Saturday, by the time you end Sunday. That way, Monday, you get another 10 to 15. So no doubt, you're already at 20. And there are people that did that. When Grant started getting things going, he was getting 20 set by Monday night. And Tuesday, Wednesday was all gravy. It was all extra. Okay? That's 10 to 15 on the fire number there. Recruiting, you also on the interview. Probably sign another 5 to 15 plus, depending on your market and volume. And then get the triple threat going at AT1. Questions or comments from our seniors? Okay. Tuesday's pretty straightforward, 11 to 1. You set your 5. And then here I have in the evening, same thing, another 5 to 7. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're like day off.
Yeah. Here we go. So 5 to 7 here. going to get another 10 to 15. Interview, sign another 5 to 15. And then Tuesday, for recruiting, what I would do is I would be doing PDI recruiting. What does that mean? Well, as I'm talking to some of my top people that from the Fast Start group, okay, let's say Rob submitted 200 names, we conveyed them. I personally set 5 of his friends, and then on Monday we set another 5 of his friends. I would be trying to target reps like Rob or someone who hasn't converted. Let's say I'll talk to Lauren. Hey, Lauren, I want to make sure we get you to the Cancun trip. And so far, I haven't been able to get a hold of. Who else could we probably call? Or who did we not get a hold of yesterday? Who else could we talk to? I try to do more specific, like targeted PDI recruiting. This is where you might also throw some bounties. Hey, Rob, I really want to build around people like you. So every friend you get in that launches, I'll give you $100. Like I would throw budgets like that for only 8 weeks of an opportunity. In fact, we do it all the time. Questions, comments on Tuesday? So if you do it right, what's the benchmark? Okay, I'll do this. So benchmarks. Here's the benchmarks. By Sunday, how many should we be at for the cycle by Sunday? Total.
10 to 15.
Yep, 10 to 15. By Monday. Yeah, you do it right. Should be 20 plus. I'll put 20 to 25 plus. And Tuesday, 25 to 30 plus. And if you mess up, you clean up on Tuesday and Wednesday. So what I'm saying is, here's the key number. By Monday, can you hit your 20 to 25? And then push to make everything gravy. You do that. If every branch in Florida United does that next summer, every new DM does that, and then you add on the 1 or 2 receptionists, we talk about staffing, the whole new ball game. You talk about exciting opportunity. Not only will we match, but I think in some cases we will exceed what we did in 2017. That's the only thing missing from our system. I had a full day with Giovanni yesterday. We compared pilot 2017, where we did 700 plus in new, to this past summer we did over 150 less, or 100, 150 plus less in new. And I told Giovanni, I said, our PPR is not broken. It's the type of people and how many of those right people we're putting into the funnel. This controls that directly. That's it. In fact, what saved our summer is Luke's efforts towards making sure when we weren't getting it going, we focused on this plus the scaling of other people calling, more receptionists, and encouraging me to spend my money on receptionists, which was good. Didn't take a lot of convincing. Okay. Wednesday, I'll make it pretty short here. Wednesday's pretty easy. Wednesday, I would say another 5 to 10 potentially on the recruiting, another 5 to 15 signed, and then you do triple threat. How about Thursday? All right. What happens Thursday for recruiting that's going to impact recruiting? We got a day 1, and don't worry about the times 12 to 6. We may adjust based on conference calls. But day 1 of training, and you have an evening interview. How do we impact recruiting for Thursday?
Same day.
Okay.
I mean, realistically, same day as on Thursday.
Yeah.
Because when are you making calls?
Yeah, I don't think you're really gonna set here. I don't think you're really gonna set. Yeah, we're not really pumping in. You could push people in. I mean, you could pump in if they're really sharp and they come from someone who knows the job. I would say that's okay. I wouldn't pump someone fresh who came in, has no idea what the job is, into training. Yeah. Okay, so you have set. Probably 0.
Unless like Eric said, you have a no-show to your 6:45, which happened a lot due to the fact that it's kind of like a weird time, then you can set minimum.
I still think you should sign 2 to 15 for that day to start the next cycle, whether it's the morning interview or the evening interview. Okay.
Say set or sign.
Sign. Just based on the interviews. Any questions? Okay, last thing on Friday. Friday, you're probably not setting PRs. Do you guys set PRs on Fridays? Sometimes.
I think Friday, what I typically did was when I implemented Mike's Snapchat approach, I had so many kids getting so many responses and the kids just sending me their numbers that typically if I was sitting at the office and I had finished training, I would set 5 to 10.
For Sunday?
Because I hadn't set up a Google Doc yet for it to be sent anywhere and I wasn't doing anything
Yeah,
anyways.
I like getting the cycle started.
So I stayed around maybe an hour and just had kids send me numbers. And they were easy scoop ups because they were already interested.
Yeah. So you'll set 5 to 10, sign 0, and no real triple threat. And then Saturday, I mean, this is where you get business. Here's the schedule Saturday. In the morning before noon, here are the list of things that have to get done on Sunday. Number 1, there's PDI. Okay. But from a recruiting standpoint, this is where you set your 5 to 10. This is where you set roughly 5 to 10. Okay. And in fact, what I recommend, I'm going to switch it what Eric said. For me, Friday night, you could set 5 to 10. I'd rather you get all your duplicates done. I'd rather you get everything done so that starting Saturday, you don't have to do any organization. You're just setting. So in the morning, there's a lot of PDI going on with the new group. And I would prioritize the PDI there. But you can't miss PRs. So I would try and set my 5 to 10. But if I don't hit my 5 to 10, I'll probably work after 12 o'clock to get my 5 to 10. For me, and I'm going to talk about this too at the branch class from the pilot. Your branch is not in the right place unless you're already at 10 set for the cycle coming out of Saturday. And we're going to fight because you only have 8 seminars. And I know in May we can fight that every Saturday there's a 10 plus, then another Sunday we get another 5 to 10. So every one of our branches in United and Pilot for sure will be at 15 to 20 by Sunday night. We do that, game over. If we can be a 15 to 20 across the board Sunday night, Monday we just layer on what's going to be another 10 to 15. You're looking at a Florida United where every person has 20 by Sunday, 30 by Monday, and we still have Tuesday, Wednesday recruiting. Game over. And conveyor. And I mean,
It's stupid.
yeah, but we didn't do that last year. Last year we had branches that didn't send any on Saturday, only got 5 on Sunday, then went into the cycle with 7 on Monday. A lot. So Saturday, I would say the big thing for me I'd like to see is setting 10 plus. Or whatever, here's my thing. Situations boss. I'd like to say 10 plus. If I have nothing going on, I would do what Kirsten did a couple Saturdays and get the 20 plus the first year. I'll put 10, 20, 30, depending on the situation. As long as this benchmark is hit, doesn't matter to me. Like this is the minimum. But as you know, with the benchmarks, there's minimums. And then of course you can shatter those minimums. Like saying, hey Andrew, having a $500,000 new business first summer as a new district would be really good. That's great. That's like the benchmark of a great district. So he decided to do 700 plus. Like shatter those. And ironically enough, you guys remember the oh hell no? We talked about oh hell no numbers. Right? What's oh hell no? Who can find it because they started on next level? What are the oh hell no benchmarks for the summer? I'll do it blue.
Under 10 set for training.
5K new business.
I have a black one for you.
1,000 Facebook friends by April. 400 staff set PRs.
5. Oh, for the summer, baby.
Under 10 set for training, under 5K for the week.
Yep. 10 set for training plus 5K. New business plus and sales. 400 staff set PRs. That's 40 per week, by the way. And then Facebook names one more time.
1,000.
Yep. So this matches up, everyone, with number 2. 400 staff set PRs over 10 weeks means 40 per week. So how does the 40 break down? How many from who? And how many from who?
20 from you.
20 from you and 20 from a receptionist. Already 30 from you. Here's why I like the 30 from you and 10 to 20 from another receptionist. Because of who you're calling. It's the 20. It's not just the number. It's not just I'm getting. Oh, Kirsten said third. That's great. Oh.
It's also the show percentage.
Gotta mute. We gotta mute. Someone's gotta mute. Okay. It's not just Kirsten said 25 on a Saturday and then another 10 on Sunday for 35 going into the week. It's who she's calling. It's the best people.
And the show percentages.
And the show percentages are way better from you going down. I'll stop there for a second. We'll revisit the whole routine and driving sales at the next prep. So we have a schedule where if done right, okay, 10, 20, 30, 40. You could get 40 in theory. I don't think a manager with a team is going to get 40. But I do believe a manager with a team is going to get 25, 30.
Or get 40 every week, though.
What's that?
You do
No,
it.
for personal.
Oh.
For personal, yeah. I think personally, I don't. The first week or two, you might be getting to 40s.
But I'm saying you can do it.
You
But
can.
It's not every single week. Like, it's not.
I think for me, I'd rather. This is the ideal branch. New office, new help. There's 10 weeks. The first 1 or 2 weeks is 40, 30, and then it stays 25, 30 the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 if you have a job. Like Eric probably was a 20 with his team the way he was operating. I could get there, but his volume wasn't 5K, 10K. No. It's different. You have a thought?
Yes and no.
Yes and no thought? Or yes?
I just don't know if you're gonna like the thought. So I was speaking to Andrew because towards the beginning of the summer, I was calling the PRs and I was getting terrible shows.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that I guess over the phone I sound kind of intimidating, or I guess scary older-ish, so a lot of people wouldn't show. So I switched over to text and I was getting way better shows. And I think that directly impacted how many PRs I was able to set up. Because over
Depends
text.
on who you are.
Yeah. I'm saying for me specifically.
No, I think for you that was probably a good move. Statistically, I mean,
yeah.
the direction is we're promoting,
So
call, but
I think texting impacted how many people answered me because I think they're more likely to answer a text.
that was, just to be clear, that was more of an audible.
Yeah.
So to be fair to Eric, not to be fair, but we're going to start with everyone calling.
Correct.
And if there are situations where you think you go to text, then you go to text. But here's how you know that. Here's the best part. Ready? You shouldn't be waiting for the summer to figure out if you suck at calling.
Mm-hmm.
Should be now.
Yeah.
So this is actually a great thought from Eric, because we should know this, that the majority, like 80% of our division and our region will be calling for a fire number.
My thought itself is when I switched over to texting, I was able to communicate with more people at once.
Sure.
So I think that impacted how many I was able to set. Instead of just sitting down for 3 hours calling PRs, I would take 45 minutes, text my top 10 lists, and then I would answer at my earliest convenience.
Mm-hmm.
And that freed up about 2 hours to talk to my team, to handle other functions. And I feel like that made it more efficient for me to set PRs at the end of the summer when I had a big team, because at one point I had 40 kids.
Yeah.
That was a week we did 39K.
But see, for me, I have no problem with that when you have 40 kids shipping 40K with 30K. I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
Luke, do you have a take? You just came back from the meeting. Can you speak to the thought on calling for fire number versus texting?
I mean, I would default to call. I mean, that's definitely a situation as boss thing. Yeah, you're gonna reach more people, but personally, I definitely get better shows when I call. I don't quite set as many, but when I look at the numbers of how many actually get in through the door, I still think it's what
Here's the Scott Dennis. Go ahead. Sorry.
As like call, text. You can always scoop up your text.
Yeah.
But a lot more people are going to answer you, but at the same time, it's a lot easier to say no over a text than it is a call.
Well, that's the Scott Dennis combatant to that. When you're calling, you're able to probably convert people. It's not necessarily efficiency of getting out the word. It's the efficiency of getting people then you wanted to get in that you might not have gotten in through text. So I think that was the right call for you at the time.
Yeah.
But how about this? I would challenge you to think, what kind of quality could you have gotten in if we buttoned up the calling portion and more potentially? So, hey, we're talking the number one branch. It's hard to argue the results, but
so my thought process on it now is when receptionist time rolls around, both of my receptionists are going to be females. Just from a psychological standpoint, you're more likely to be open to talking to a female.
Oh no, I have no doubt.
But I also think one of the things that challenge you in your programs is to get good at calling. Because
Yeah.
like if Luke Maseko gets a text from Westminster Academy and he's the star football player, and you're texting him, and it is way easier for him to say, "No, bro, I'm good," or "Not this," versus you get a call, "Hello," and you can handle objections. You can talk. It's like trying to text appointments with customers. Think about that.
For those, when I knew it was like a star, like this kid would crush it, instead of texting them, I would just have the friend FaceTime them at the office, and I would talk to them over FaceTime to set up an interview.
Yeah, that's 3-way. Yeah, that's great.
So I would literally, while they're at the office, I would have like Marley or Jade or Moises physically FaceTime their friends if it was a normal call. Be like, yo, I'm at the office.
Yep.
You want to talk to my boss and see what's up?
Yep.
You
That's
hand
like
my
a
phone.
high level alley, right?
Yeah. So I would just have them put me on FaceTime, and that's how I would set up like the really stud kids.
That's excellent.
That's
So that's my point. When you get the stud kids, you want that live. The challenge is when someone takes that and says, "Oh, let me just text more people because it's easier." Well, yeah, be careful with that. So I agree with Luke. I agree with Eric, and for 2 different reasons. Any other final thoughts, Mike? Did you have a thought on that? You look like you're about to chime in, or you're just working on your computer. Okay, handsome. Cool. Any thoughts or questions? Okay, let's do this. How about we take a quick 2-minute stretch? Because I want to dive into the money, and I think we can get out a little bit early, get you guys to lunch, and I want you guys back sooner if possible to help set up for first level. Okay, so let's take 4 minutes until like 25 after. It's 11:21. So I'll go till 11:25. Cool. Take 5. Thanks, guys. Sweet.
when Carlos first said that, I did not understand it.
All right, we're up and running.
I was like,
Get the crew back up on.
everyone was like shooting themselves.
Jackson, can I get television back on, please? I think I went to sleep. All right. If everyone could open up the picture, I'm going to share on the screen. If you could open up the picture of the, or prepare to cover the money cash flow bank account setup. It's the last handout. Thank you, Jackson.
You're welcome.
Okay.
During the break, let's figure out like why it's so small.
Yeah, got it. Hey, for branches specifically, so Amanda, Zach, Maggie, we've got Kirsten, Dolila, Eric, Luke for sure having run a branch. Anyone that's run a branch before. Vargas, if you're free. Mike, if you're free. And Jackson here, since you're right in front of me. As it pertains to money and running a branch office, right? I would like your top two either lessons and or things you wish you had learned and or things that you did learn but you wish you had implemented as it pertains to money. I'll give you 30 seconds. I want you to get your thoughts down. So give me like the top lessons learned, things you wish you had learned but didn't, things you wish you'd implemented but you didn't, or things you did really well that helped. And we'll make sure you get these down for a second.
It was like 62 of them.
There's 62 of them. Only, right? Only? I will start with Jackson. District, multiple branches. Loud, please.
Yeah, when I think back to my branch, something I wish I would have planned a little bit better or just would have had knowledge of is a budget. I made more money than I had ever made my entire life, like up until that point. And having that much money at the time, I was like spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
I remember something, I just randomly saw an ad for an Apple Watch, and then I was like, looked at my bank account and left and went to Best Buy and bought an Apple Watch. So it was like I was spending way more than I should have. And I think if I would have had like a budget, but like mapped out a few different types of budgets, like how much, like a budget with if I would make this much, or a budget would I make this much, or a budget would I make this much. I think it would help me.
Yeah.
So
Really interesting. So this summer we shipped a little bit less than new, but I made more money on the pilot. Big part of it was we eliminated the gigantic receptionist payroll. Like we didn't have the full blown, I'm paying 12 receptionists a week. I paid 4 on a considerably part-time basis. That's part of it, but part of it too is just we had budgets and we stuck to them, and we lowered budgets according to volume. And then Luke was the guy who pulled the trigger on some of these, but he got approval, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. So budgets, okay. Who else has a thought? We'll go. Yeah, we'll go Eric.
I mean, if I go back and change one thing, I wish I had more withholdings. When I went to go lock down my office lease, it was a pain in the butt because I didn't have enough of my withholdings to get the space, and you had to generously loan me a little bit. And then when I got my withholdings back, I sent it back to you.
Yeah, but I'm a good bank. I have no interest.
Yeah.
I'm a good bank.
But that was a big. I could go back and change that because I could have gotten a nicer office. If I would have had a little bit more, I think that would have made a difference.
Yeah.
But it just limited my options.
I think in theory, or not in theory, in planning, that's why I keep saying go 2 levels up. Like what's due by October 1st? 500. What am I promoting as people in the green? 1,000. What's the minimum by summer? 2,500. What am I promoting in the green? Like 3 to 5. Because when it comes to it, remember, here's how it works. You do have company startup. You have what, in excess of $5,500 from the company, 6,000, something. Can't touch any of it until you get a lease. You can't get a lease until you get first month, last month, or in many cases we pay up front. And so on a $1,500 a month lease or $1,000 a month lease, you need to give $3,000 up front. And if you don't even have that in your startup, you can't put that up front. So for me, and I'm not mandating this, and I want to be careful not to make if you don't have this, you can't succeed, because we've had multiple summers of people branching not at that level. But in theory, I'd like all the top level branches to be at 5+, 5 to 6+. So unless you're going to Boca, because then you have that's a higher, like Luke had 6+ and still didn't have enough to put down for rent, but that's just a unique situation. Okay, how about a virtual land? Mistakes on money, or what you wish you had learned or what you implemented that went well. Let's go over to virtual. We have Amanda, we have Maggie, we have Zach, we have Luke, former branch. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Cool.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Some lessons that definitely.
Amanda, it's really tough. I think because the computer is so far from you guys, it just sounds transformer. So I'll come back to you guys. Luke, how about you? How about some money lessons?
I'd say first of all, make sure you have a system for tracks.
I'm muting everyone else. Go ahead.
Make sure you have a system for tracking. Stuff can get out of hand really easily in places that you don't notice if you're not tracking each area of your business, especially when it comes to business expenses. It's only going to help with taxes in the future. I think have like your macro budget as well as your micro budget. So what I mean by that is, I think Jackson was saying budget for specific parts in your business. So we had like our phone jam budget, we had our PR caller budget, we had different budgets for different things that fit into the larger macro. So I think one big thing for every office is just phone jam prizes, for example. And we knew that we wanted to reserve the bulk of it for certain phone jams, that are the all-day phone jams for SE1 and SE2 and stuff like that. So make sure you have that stuff planned out accordingly. And also sample kit management, especially when you're a branch. When you're a pilot, it's a smaller percentage of your budget, so it's not as emphasized. But when you're a branch, it's a pretty big deal to get all your sample kits back. I remember my branch in August, I was driving around getting people sample kits. So being on top of that is an easy way to just make more money. Just keep in mind the best branches aren't always the most profitable branches. So
yeah, and keep in mind, like I'm gonna give you an example. If you lose a kit, you get charged how much? You guys know? $50. So let's say you lose 10 kits, that's $500, right? But here's the thing: you got to be careful because in the beginning of the summer, I go through one-on-one with all of your budget, and in there we have, I think it's 5 kits lost, $250. So rather than trying to go find 5 kits and playing police and debt collector, I'd rather be driving PDI and or doing more demos, meaning. When you start to nickel and dime the kits on like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 kits, like if you notice, if you have less than 5 kits out, we don't even call you about it until you're over 10. Like region doesn't even contact you until you're at least over 10 because just the reward, just what you're spending your energy on to get 2 kits back means you probably should have been selling more because $200 means that much to you. Like that's kind of like the philosophy of why you have it in your budget to lose kits. Okay. This is also part of what Luke's saying. I'm going to visually put this on the board. You'll have for sure we have all this?
Yep.
Even with the, oh, hell no.
Let me double check.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Yep, it's in the group chat with a star.
A good joke would have been, no, wait.
Oh.
That's what I would do.
Can you walk through that budget, Luke?
Wait, what?
Like that specific budget for each thing? Like what do you got to categorize by?
Are you asking me?
No, Luke.
I was asking Luke. I don't think you can hear me.
Phone jam.
Oh, you're asking Luke about?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like phone jam.
What'd you say here?
Yeah, can you walk through that categorized budget so I can?
Yeah, it's what we cover in your cap. The same one. No, it's not different. It's not different. It's just that it's what we cover in the cap, but there's a few extra categories. I'll cover.
Yeah, there's it was more specific.
But let me give you these markers are.
Well, it's up to you to make it more specific, So we have the one in the cap, and I would call that your macro budget. But then within phone jam budget, don't just know, hey, I have $400 to spend. Know where you're going to disperse that $400 to, maximize your phone jam.
Yeah, we'll make that the second topic. Watch. So let's just say PR calling. Take a look. Just humor me for a second. Let's say you're having a PR caller. We've already been talking about this. How many PR callers should a brand new branch have?
One.
At least one. And how much per hour? So you have one receptionist, right? Per hour, making what?
$10.
Let's just call it 10 for math. We'll call it $10 an hour. Okay. So how many should they be setting a week?
10 each.
20. How many hours of work does it take to set 20?
10.
How many hours to set 5?
2.
2. So 2 times 10, or 2 times 20.
40 hours.
Yeah, so,
Wait,
so
what?
$10 an hour.
Hold on.
Oh, he's saying
Set,
$10.
they want to set 20 a week. It's 2 set per hour.
So 10 hours.
So that's 40 hours a week.
Oh my god. I just said that out loud.
Okay.
No, it would be 10.
Yeah, it would be 10 hours.
You're multiplying.
I'm sorry. That's 20 set a week. That'll be 10 hours. Right, now you're confusing me.
Sorry. You have to set 20 a week and it takes 2 per hour.
Yeah,
That'd be
so
10 hours.
20 divided
10
by
hours.
2 is 10. It's 10 hours, $100.
It takes 2
10
hours.
20 divided by 2 is 10.
Yeah, but it takes 2 hours to set one, right?
2
2
hours
hours.
to
You
set
said it's 2
two.
hours. Set
Wait, it's 2
2
hours to
hours.
set
5. That's 4
I thought you
hours.
said 1 hour to set 2.
What? Right. How many? How long does it take? How many do you set per hour? 2.
2. So it'd be 10 hours.
You said 2 PRs per hour?
That's right. 10 hours.
Yeah, bro.
2 PRs per hour.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait.
Sorry.
Exactly.
22 per hour.
Right. So call it $100 a week. Okay. Just gonna call it $100 a week. Times how many weeks?
8, 10.
1,000.
Oh, that's.
Right. So
You're
20
gonna
weeks.
get 2.
Everyone follow me so far, or you just lost in La La Land, and then you complain when you guys don't have money at the end of the summer.
Well, this
Right?
is also receptionist. It's not like us.
So it's $1,000 a week. Okay. I'm gonna give you, let's say, a swing of $1,000 to $2,000 for the next level group. I'll give you guys a bigger swing of how much you can spend. You might have 2 receptionists. Let's just call it 2,000. So here's how a budget works as a business person. All right. In theory versus situation. In theory, every week I have 10 hours. They do $10 an hour. They set their PRs. All this good in the hood.
The hood.
Okay. And I say I hit my budget of $1,000 to $2,000. Here's what's not in theory. Oh crap, I'm behind for the summer, or I'm tapped into this really good school. So what I would do is I would rather you spend the whole budget in May and half of June and have no more money, and say, wow, I just got into, where did you go to school? Did you say, Brendan? Into PACE. That's right. So I got into PACE, and Lauren's like the hot rep right now, right? Beg fast start, knows everyone, real well connected. So I want to capitalize on that. I might throw another PR call in May, and I might spend $1,500 of my receptionist budget in May. But look what's going to yield me in an only 8-week window. So what does that mean? That just means in June you call Jeff up. You say, hey Jeff, my budget is $500 left for receptionists. So what do you suggest I do? And we'll come up with a plan where we'll say, like, there was one summer where I essentially spent the whole thing by June. So I fired all my receptionists in July. I fired 80% of my receptionists. But we had it was a top 3 region summer. Right? Or I just scaled it down so low because I had to make up for what I spent. Ready? Our wedding budget. I absolutely went over our wedding budget. Do it right, do it once. So our furniture budget has gone down, and no, actually it's not. That's also gone high. Okay, our outside non-Cutco trips budget has gone to practically, what is like 6 trips to now 2. We've cut like 4 full trips out in the year. Heidi and I, we do our quarterly planning meeting, and we said, we're not going to go to these 4 places that we thought. We're not going to visit home in Baltimore as much. We're not going to go to North Dakota twice. We'll go once. We eliminated what's going to equal what we overspent on the wedding. But for us, it was worth it to have that right experience in the wedding. It's worth it for us to capitalize. You want to front load. I'd rather you spend to get recruits May, June than to conserve and have more money June, July. The name of the game is not save. The name of the game is revenue make. And then through your expense control, profit. Any questions on that? I bet that's just a really important concept. Sometimes people see budgets and say, well, I have to be this much this week and I can't. Like, front load it. Front load it.
I have a thought, Jeff.
Yes. Hi, Mike.
Hey, welcome back. I think a meeting with yourself is really important. If you could do it in your power hour or once a month, but I do that with myself as a 33-year-old man. And if I know if I did that when I was younger, it would be fantastic. So I think just getting in the habit of what Jeff's teaching right now with the big 3, starting there and just like having a meeting with yourself and saying, where did I spend money? And just looking at the the expenses and money going out, I think it's just one of the best habits that you could take. I know Lindsay calls me a freak because I do that every month. I have a meeting with myself and I go through every dollar that I spent and every dollar that I earned every single month and do it myself and update the spreadsheet. Now, Jeff, are they going to be on Rising Stock?
Yeah.
Super fire.
So you're going to essentially have someone do this for you, which is fantastic, but that doesn't help you understand money So I think it's really about the habit right now of just like monitoring how much is going out, how much is coming in, and of course, if you're in school and not selling that much, then there's not much coming in. But maybe you get an influx for student loans or whatnot.
Yeah.
Most kids are like, nice, I got student loan money, and they spend just so. I guess the point I'm making here is these habits are not about the branch. It's not about next summer. It's about the rest of your life. If you really want to have, financial acumen, if you want to have, flexibility and freedom when it comes to finances and not be a slave to your money, just like time, it's just, it's a finite amount.
Yeah.
So you can quantify it. So that's my thought.
Yeah, and we'll talk about, this is also a prelude to general session today. We'll talk about buckets. Like, for example, when I set the wedding budget, I was really being aggressive on, we're going to run the type of wedding that Jeff Gambo and Heidi Hagar want to run or have on a shoestring budget. That's just not happening. But I set a number and I put that amount into the money bucket for wedding. So whenever I paid something for wedding, it came out of that bucket. I subtracted, and it got lower and lower and lower. And you see it and you go, damn, we only have, well, I want to do this for the venue. Well, let's get a helicopter. I'm just making something up. Let's get a helicopter. Well, we only have 10 grand left. You want to spend that on a helicopter or more stuff for 10 grand? Like, and you see it go down. And I have another budget for furniture that goes down and down and down. And you know what? We really went all out on the living room. We got the Cutco coffee table we want. We got the Cutco couch that we wanted. We got the Cutco chandelier we wanted. That means everything else might have to be an IKEA, and that's so nice. So that might have to be nothing in an empty space for a little bit until we set our next budget, right? And I love buckets because you can see it dwindle down. But then also on the opposite, rewards. Like I just paid off all of Heidi's credit card debt through med school and through college. I just cut on 2 Fridays ago. I got a really expensive $250 bottle of wine, and we spent about 2 hours, and I called and cut about 75 grand in checks. And it was zero, like all 0% interest, 0% balance, done. We celebrated, we had an awesome dinner, and we set an agreement, we set a celebration. So when we also pay off her, her med school, you can imagine her med school loans, right? So we have a date, and so for us, that night ended up being probably a grand day. I had a grand day in celebrating dinner, bottle of wine, but we just eliminated high interest rates. $6,000 to $8,000 a year she was paying in interest rates. Made me want to vomit. Made Adam want to vomit. Right? That $8,000 could have staffed a killer, unbelievable home office with all types of electronics. Instead, it's going to credit cards. So we eliminated that. So we celebrated. So like 10%. So we eliminated 8-9 grand in debt. We spent $1 grand. So when we eliminate, say it again.
I was thinking more receptionist.
Say it again.
With that 8 grand, I was thinking more receptionist.
Or that, yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying, you can use it towards something. Okay. So the same thing applies when Heidi pays off her med school loans of approaching $250,000 a year, or I'm sorry, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. We're gonna go on like a $50,000, $40,000, $30,000 trip. But it's all, you can also set it the other way. It's not just, oh my gosh, it's running out. It's, hey, let's build towards, when we put this much away or save, let's reward. I think that's a really fun way to do it, because Vector people like rewards. You guys are raised on raised by trophies. Someone over here.
And one more point here from the older guys that are talking to you guys now, So I think it's important to also put money towards things that, when you're aware of it, that are when you're aware of it, you put the value to your life. So, for example, the amount of money, I had this conversation with Amanda once before. She loves, singing, and she's like, I don't know if I want to spend the money. She remember this conversation on, in putting money towards singing. I say, by investing that extra blank dollars per week, blank dollars per month, it's going to bring you more life and bring you more excitement and bring you more passion. It's worth the money. And just take it away from fast food and brown paper bag it and start cooking a little bit more. Like when you're aware of the money, it's not just fun money or fuel. Like when you're more efficient with the food money, then that allows you to fuel your fun money. And when you're more efficient with your fun money, it allows you for the big trips or the big pursuits and stuff like that. So the awareness is fun. It becomes a game. It becomes fun. It becomes enjoyable. So take these habits and really run with it, but don't neglect the things that produce more energy for you. Your health and fitness, your passions that you're really excited about. If you really get juiced up about, whatever it might be. If they're going to a sporting event, like Luke gets juiced up when he goes to a sporting event, he gets all hyped up and excited. Don't take that away from you because of money. Just become more aware of like, okay, in order for me to receive this exciting thing that brings me more passion, what do I need to cut from in order to have this? I don't know.
I agree. And it's continuing to get better when you see our new place. My wardrobe has not really accelerated recently. I got plenty of clothes, but I used to be I really like to get a couple new pieces every fall, every spring, every season. I keep up with the latest fashion. But for me, we prioritize our home and our place to come home to and be together and raise our family. So I don't have, I probably have 3 less suits or jackets than I would have at this point for the year. But I have some badass furniture. I have a great place. We entertained our first guests and meeting neighbors. So you have, to Mike's point, you can take that away. We don't eat out Monday through Friday, and we can afford to eat out Monday through Friday. We can. But we decided if we're going to go up here, we really want to stick to a budget. Heidi cooks, plus it's more quality time, and then we blow it out on the weekends and eat whatever we want. So, right, Mike, spoken from the old guys. Yes.
As a brand, it's really easy to give up on the meal prep and just go out and spend so much money. I think my biggest expense this summer was literally buying food.
Oh, it's 85% of branches' number one expense is your food.
I just spent so much money just eating because I got lazy and didn't want to meal prep. I literally destroyed my budget for eating. So I mean, I think as a branch, just have that mentality that you don't have to eat out every single day. You'll spend so much money that you could have been implementing into your business.
I also think I don't know. I wouldn't put a time frame to this, but for me, I really think learning how to eat right and eat for yourself starts now. I don't think it's a spring thing. I think it takes a while to get to the discipline of not eating out, especially in college. Especially in college. Or I don't have the time. I'm so tired. It's just easier. I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in the world. Luke's dad said this 1 year ago. He said, money can't buy you happiness, but it can pay for people to do things for you. It's true. It's true. So, like, we don't want to do laundry and clean in the Gamboa household. So, we pay a really nice Latin lady from Hialeah to do it.
Consuela?
No, Abuela.
No way.
Nah, her name's not Abuela.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Let me do Mila.
Sorry.
Watch this.
No, her name's not Abuela.
I told my abuela a long time ago to start a business.
Like abuelitas.
Go to the fraternity houses and get the other abuelas together.
Oh yeah, and then spend the money on going out and eating. Yeah.
Coming to the house, make some food.
Food for thought, just random thought. So this is going to segue when we go through the TLA money section today. I want you to pay attention to money buckets. Here's what I also want to say. We, for the most part, go through the same stuff every year. But how much can you implement is different. How much you implement, rather, is different. So can this be the year where everything I'm talking about 6 months from now, when you start your branch, you go, yeah, I do that now. That whole monthly spreadsheet budget. Do you have that? Do you know? Do you know what your monthly expenses are? I know to the dollar. I know within $100, within $1,000 or two. My low, medium, and high, what it costs me to live, no hiding expenses, just me for the year. I know there's a number for my personal expenses, low, medium, high. We're figuring out her, and then we'll have a household, what I pay to pay off our bills, because it's our money. That's how we view it. Okay? So it's low, medium, high. But do you have that for you? Because as Andrew Evans says often, how you do it when things are small is how you do it when things are big. Same thing, just add zeros. It's true. It's true. If you're handling a budget for the week on your big three, and some of you still aren't sticking to that, or I'll just blow that out here. I'm okay with you blowing it out there if you unblow it out somewhere else or reverse blow it out somewhere else. Otherwise, you're just spending your money frivolously. Okay. One thing I'll put on the screen, and we'll wrap up here so we can get out on time. If you take a look at this. This is something we'll revisit closer closer to when those of you get selected for your territory, so it'll be more applicable. But I just want to stress the importance of having separate bank accounts. Most branches operate everything under one account. And that's okay for your branch, but it's not really okay in the grand scheme of things later, like for tax purposes. So for example, I run Florida Caribbean Division Incorporated. I am the president of Florida Caribbean Division Incorporated, which is my incorporation, my company.
and I pay myself a salary. So according to, and this is the tax advantage portion that you guys will learn if you're running an independent business, according to the IRS, I'm employed by Florida Caribbean Division Incorporated, which is my company. And I'm the president, I pay myself a salary. All entrepreneurs do this, they pay themselves a salary. By doing that, you're taking advantage of all these tax benefits where you can put yourself in completely different tax brackets, lower, and save thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars by just doing that. So this is just a quick version of it. I'm not sure to what degree you guys have this, but I just know from experience, 90% of branches don't do this. I think it's good for second-year branches to start this stuff. I think getting used to paying yourself on a weekly basis, because those of you that want to be entrepreneurs, I can tell you right now, the #1 downfall for most companies, I don't know a percentage, I saw this in entrepreneurs, cash flow. If you don't manage cash flow, or you're out of money, and this is one of the small little steps now to get to it later. Okay. All right, let's do this. I would like 60 seconds on your biggest takeaways and top action steps. And we're going to go around and everyone's going to share big light bulbs, action steps, which you appreciate. And we're going to go lunch.
You said light bulbs, action steps, appreciate?
Yeah. Thanks for posting, Mila.
Mm-hmm. I have this also that I need to make process.
Another 20 seconds. Okay. So just a friendly reminder. I would like, we're going to depart here. I'd like everyone here no later. Can we shoot for 1 o'clock? Get you a full hour. That way if we go over just a tiny bit. Oh, it's just be funny. But here's what I would like for sure. By 1:15, we are already able to receive people coming in. So that means we need a registration. So Mila's going to have the spreadsheet for here. David Vargas, I sent you a spreadsheet, so you can just probably go around and have it filled out. Mike, whoever you want to delegate that to, or if you want to check all the assignments from first years and next level. And then that's it, right? Yeah, and then Mila will reach out to some of the virtuals as well, okay? It's as easy as did they submit. And here's one thing I do know. We had multiple first years submit late and some this morning. And in fact, I think there was 1 or 2 next level who didn't get it in on time. So make sure you address it if that's you, and make sure you address it with them.
How should I know if it was late?
What's that?
How do I know if they were late or not?
You can ask them, hey, did you submit your assignment on time by 9 o'clock?
Oh, I can have each other email.
Yeah, so I just don't have time. It's like not worth my time to go right now and figure out who's late or not. I'll do that another time, okay? Let's make sure by 1:15 we got music and tempo. I'd like you guys not to be just speaking to yourselves, but be receiving and welcoming. During the breaks, we're gonna have heavy question and answer. It's also worth the time to go through the agenda for 30 seconds for first years to know, okay, opening comments. This is what Jeff's covering. How can I support? How can I be involved? Mike's going to talk about PRs. Drill for skill. I think it's worth it during the break right now to figure out before you go eat who's going to do drill for skill and how. I plan on doing like 2 or 3 live versions here. Okay. And I might have Mike do 1 or 2 live versions like on the spot there. So we'll do a total of 3 to 5 live, and then we'll break out and disperse and then give scores. Okay. Any questions?
Should we take specific people for the drill for skill?
Meaning, we'll divvy that up for us. Okay. So
Surprise.
let's do this. Let's go to David, Giovanni, Erica, and Luke to start. We'll do biggest takeaways, action steps, and what do you? How about this? Make it for sake of time. What do you biggest takeaways? 1 or 2 takeaways, and what do you appreciate? We'll do it 15 seconds or less. Let's go, David, Giovanni, and Luke to kick us off.
Yeah, biggest takeaway overall is biggest thing of this thing is just being aware of what your limitations are, being aware of everything that you're doing, tracking money, where your business is at, adjusting situationally dependent. Biggest action step is implementing, of course, a lot more of this from the positive intelligence, going through it and implementing the exercises for me.
Okay, good. We'll go Giovanni. We'll go to Luke.
Some takeaways. How do you find a way to level up so that you can feel empowered? For me, it's fitness, and my action step would be creating a gym routine that I can stick to. Then I appreciate personal growth and mentorship.
Okay, sounds good. Luke, and then we'll go to Erica.
Takeaways, just having macro budget, micro budget all buttoned up for the summer. Action step is I want to plan out, for my office, different areas of the business. So, like what are we doing with social media? What are we doing budget-wise? What are we doing staffing-wise? All that kind of stuff. And then what I appreciate is Cancun next week.
Yeah, Cancun. It's going to be fun. Who's going to Cancun?
Hey, if you're flying through Fort Lauderdale, we're going to get mimosas with my mom beforehand.
There you go. Yay! Let's go to Erica, then Puerto Rico. Guys, we do 10 seconds or less quickly. Erica, you're up.
Okay. Biggest takeaways were like the macro, micro budget, and then also something that stuck with me was the Saturdays are days off.
And what do you appreciate?
Biggest action steps. Appreciate this call.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. And then I'll have those of you that are virtual, unless you have a different agreement, on opening comments, and you'll bounce out after. We'll go 10 seconds or less. We'll go Chewy, Patricia, and Christina quickly.
All right. So biggest takeaways was having a system for tracking expenses and business expenses. And then I appreciate my circle of influence, being surrounded by great people.
Good. Patricia and Christina, thank you.
My biggest takeaway was having different budgets for different things. So you have different things in the business like phone jams, etc. And I appreciate Christina and my family.
Okay, Christina.
So basically not being afraid to spend your budget with like recruiting wise or receptionists, and specifically in gold period, and I appreciate all of you.
Okay, we'll go to Clearwater. Let's go Skylar and then go all the way to the other side. We'll go Skylar, right, Daniel all the way to the right, and with Maggie.
So the biggest takeaway is just being aware of your salaries, writing down, journaling that, and also your expenses. And what I appreciate is my circle of influence.
Excellent. Daniel, Christian, then Maggie.
Biggest takeaway would be definitely having separate budgets for like each individual thing, so I can really manage my money on a micro level, macro level, and then what I appreciate is keeping me engaged.
Good. Christian, Maggie, and Amanda.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is, so as Giovanni, is just knowing where I can level up in my life and kind of my business. And what I appreciate is, again, virtual hubs.
Okay, we'll go Maggie, Amanda, Zach.
Biggest takeaway is it's okay to blow your money if you blow it from somewhere else, and I appreciate Mike.
All right, Amanda, Zach.
Biggest takeaway is definitely macro, micro budgeting, and what I appreciate is my circle of influence.
All right, we'll go Zach, and then we'll come over here to Eric.
Biggest takeaway was what Mike was talking about, how you can like cut off your food to like and then put that money towards fun, and you can kind of just manage it that way. And then I appreciate the meal we're about to eat together.
We'll go Eric, Mason,
Mr. Mason, and then Dalila.
Biggest takeaway was it's not about you, and it wasn't a direct topic, but planning sessions with your significant other. You have with Heidi, I think I can implement that with my girlfriend.
Ask me about it.
I appreciate consistent opportunity for growth. So there's a lot of opportunities that give you to grow, but they stop after a while. This one hasn't yet. And I appreciate my girlfriend Becky and my best friend Andres.
Excellent. We'll go Mason, Dalila.
Biggest light bulb would be having budgets for different things and also shattering minimums. And then what I appreciate is the opportunity to learn.
Okay, good. Oh, Tommy. What the hell? What are you doing to that dog? No? Callie, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll go Dalila and Jackson.
Biggest takeaway is to level up. Biggest action step is journal more, and I appreciate this meeting.
Jackson.
Biggest takeaway is leveling up, and then what I appreciate is college football.
All right.
Biggest takeaway is your example of like your wedding budget, sticking to it and seeing like how much you have left, and then go ahead and like altering what you're gonna do like decision wise.
Mm-hmm.
And what I appreciate is I don't know.
Good. Rob, Lauren.
Biggest takeaway is having a budget for each push, and I appreciate NLG.
My biggest takeaway was the critical 6, so 3 things for recruiting and then 3 things for PPR.
Yep.
And then what I appreciate is my family.
Good, and we'll cover that on the next one.
Biggest takeaway, having a weekly budget, and I appreciate my mom.
All right.
My biggest takeaway is that the growth of your business will never exceed your personal growth, so just finding ways to level up in all areas of your life. I appreciate systems that are easy to replicate, and action steps are PQ rep systems in a level up plan.
Here's what I want to share. Don't take for granted. I'll say this. Don't take our group for granted. Food for thought as a DVM. What we just covered this morning, division managers, and I'm going to share this. I know every year because I go to the meeting and I share. They froth at the mouth, going, "Man, I wish we were covering this with our district managers. I wish our district managers were aligned as much as you guys are." And that's just your. I'm not even a district manager. I'm not even a first year. I'm maybe a second year branch level. Don't take that for granted, and make sure you eat food and get recharged.
Yay!
Okay,
Recharge,
so
recharge.
back by 1 o'clock.
Elevate.
Hardstart 1:15. Elevate. Level up.
Level up, level up, level up.
All right, everyone.
Song, bro. You gotta play that song.
Level up, level up. Okay. I will. I'm gonna stop the broadcast right now. Thanks, guys.
I don't have a car, so